I should have stolen this bike days ago. Corey swerves right, slipping past a Smiley's grasp. Whoosh. An arrow hisses by his cheek. The hell? He glances back. Max leaning out a car window, already knocking another arrow. Corey faces forward and floors it. Can you people just leave me alone? Virum. He weaves through wrecks, Smileys, even a black Smiley, then spots a stack of crash cars forming a ramp. Perfect. He guns it, rides up the metal, and launches. Woo! For a heartbeat, he's weightless. Then his skin prickles, a warning. He looks back. Not again. The cursed chimera is on him, murder in its eyes. Corey wraps a cord around the bike's right handle, fixes it, then turns to meet the dive. The chimera swipes. He jumps, leaving the bike to fall. Midair, they cross. The claws miss, almost. One grazes his left arm. Blood beads. TCH. Great. Another ruined robe. The chimera swings again. Corey doesn't try to slip past it. He snaps his right wrist and yanks the cord. His body jerks toward the dropping bike, and the second strike whiffs past. The chimera dives after him, faster this time. Clang. Bang. GH. Corey hits the road hard, Smile Reaper barely catching the blow. The strength gap is brutal. He shoves up, dazed, and sees a shadow looming. Shit. He rolls right. The chimera's foot smashes down where he was, spraying stone and dust. He snatches Smile Reaper, the reason he rolled that way in the first place, and runs for the fallen bike. Pain flares everywhere. He risks to look back. Dust still billows around the chimera. Maybe it can't see. He focuses on the bike instead. Focus state drops. His lungs burn. No mana left to keep it up. He hauls the bike upright, jumps on, cranks the ignition, and stows Smile Reaper in his inventory this time, not a pocket. Vroom. He tears off. 3 seconds later, he checks his 6. The chimera is still standing in the dust cloud, unmoving. Weird. No time to solve it. Where are those bastard brothers? Crash. Tumble. Bang. Laughter rings out. Finally caught that bastard. Matt crows as their wrecked car spins to a stop. Matt kicks his door open and heads for Corey's crumpled form. They slow. Their faces shift from triumph to shock as Corey pushes to his knees. Monster, Matt whispers. Max says nothing, but he feels the same. Fuck, Corey breathes, swaying. He spits blood, blinks his vision clear, then looks down at his right arm hanging wrong. He grips it with his left and snaps it back into the socket. No sound, just colder eyes. He flexes his fingers. Good enough. He meets their gaze, inhales, exhales, and turns and runs. Matt snapped out of it first. Shit, he's running again. Don't let him get away. He bolted after Corey. Mac blew past him, faster, but the chase didn't calm their nerves. They were running down a monster who should have been dead. No one walks away from a crash like that. The thought that Corey might be unkillable sent a cold ripple through both of them. If Corey could have heard them, he might have laughed. If he were immortal, he wouldn't be in this mess. He'd have finished the brothers and the cursed chimera, no matter the cost. He'd lived because at the last second, he'd triggered Iron Skin and braced for impact. It didn't save him from the pain, but it kept him breathing. He'd endured worse in the library of records. Bones shattered, bodies rebuilt, rinse and repeat. Pain was familiar. Passing out wasn't an option. Not before he saw his family. Not after everything. And definitely not at the hands of Kyle and those two. So he ran. He cut right into a narrow alley. The brothers' faces hardened. Mac reached the corner first, swung in, and scowled. 3 seconds later, Matt arrived, saw Mac searching, and his face fell. He slipped us again, didn't he? Corey was gone. The alley held only 2 dented garbage bins and blank brick. Smash the bins, Mac said. Didn't check them. Could be bait for a sneak attack. Matt frowned. Stay behind me. Mac flickered 5 meters back. Matt drew his greatsword with both hands. Red aura bled off the blade as the air turned mean. Berserk slash. He carved a crimson arc the width of the alley. It sheared through both bins and scored both walls for 10 meters before fading. Empty. No Corey. Mac joined him, scanning every angle. Nowhere to hide, unless. He looked up. Windows on both buildings. He smiled. He stopped, eyes lifting higher past the windows into the sky. What? Matt looked up too. His expression shifted. Mac exhaled and spoke low. Leader says pull out. Matt didn't argue. They turned and left. From a window on the left-hand building, Corey watched them go, baffled. He peered at the sky but saw nothing, heard nothing. What now? He muttered, then slid down the wall, chest heaving. He shut his eyes for a beat. I need sleep. He glanced at the door. If they tried it, someone wasn't walking away. High above, a man in black hovered, staring down at Corey's building with a flat, irritated gaze. You step on a cockroach, it lives. You smash it, it crawls back. The only way to kill a cockroach is to burn it, then tear it apart. Kyle opened his palm. A tight spiral of flame spun there, growing by the second. He tipped his hand. The fire tornado dropped toward the roof. A grandeur, he said. Whoosh. Wind roared. In moments the funnel swelled and swallowed the building. Glass burst. A figure dove from a window, reaching for the opposite wall. Kyle smiled. Cockroach indeed, which is why you cut it to pieces. He watched Corey scramble to the rooftop and sprint along the tiles.
Hey everyone, Firescale Audiobooks here. If there's a novel you'd love to hear more of, you can support us on Patreon or Ko-fi. Depending on your tier, I'll make extra parts just for the stories you're most excited about. Usually I can only upload 4 to 5 parts of each novel, but with your support we can go beyond that. And of course, don't forget to hit subscribe. It helps more than you know.
Meanwhile, Corey. Hot. That's fucking hot, damn it. Corey cursed as he patted various parts of his clothes and body that were currently on fire. Fucking bastard. Corey growled while running, ignoring the blazing heat behind him. He didn't need to look for the person that attacked him. He knew the person and he knew his location. This is so fucking unfair. Why does the bastard have so many abilities? Isn't that cheating? I knew my talent would not be able to protect me at all. This was why I wanted a fucking new talent. Just as Corey was lamenting and was about to jump to another building, he heard a whistling sound and his expression changed drastically. Shit. Bang. The building beneath him got destroyed, and a giant head with 2 large fangs appeared beneath Corey with its mouth opened. Fuck. Corey tried to jump to the next building, but the appearance of the demi-basilisk was too sudden, so he failed and fell. Fucking beast. Corey quickly brought out Smile Reaper from his inventory and tried to stab it into the body of the demi-basilisk, expecting it pierced through since he was inside its body, and the inside was always weaker than the outside, but clang, crack. Corey looked at the broken Smile Reaper in his hand with a dazed expression. My Smile Reaper, Corey said with a depressed tone and expression. He gave it a second of silence, then placed the broken Smile Reaper in his inventory. He then focused and looked up, where he could see the rapidly closing mouth of the demi-basilisk. Focus. Despite the fact that focus would drain his stamina, he entered his focus state knowing he would need it. As Corey's brain worked on overdrive, in less than a second he already thought of a way to escape, dying inside the body of the beast. He looked to the front, then placed both of his legs on the throat of the snake, and used it to push himself backwards. Bam! His back slammed against the opposite part of the throat, reducing his descent drastically. Not wanting to waste such an opportunity, he placed both his legs and hands on the body of the demi-basilisk and jumped to the opposite side of the throat. Super jump. He jumped again, but this time, he used super jump, increasing the distance he covered, and he continued this 3 more times. He jumped from one side of the throat to the other, using super jump, before he got close to the mouth of the demi-basilisk, where he could see the fangs of the creature clearly. Seeing that he only had a very tight opening to pass through before the mouth fully closed, he jumped once again with all his might using super jump, and he obviously passed through the tight opening. Getting out of the insides of the demi-basilisk, Corey was still in the air and had a smile on his face, happy that he survived. But his joy was short-lived when he looked down and noticed that he was far above the ground. Shit. Corey cursed, then instinctively tried to use Iron Skin, but shit. My mana has finished. Corey cursed, then decided to brace himself for impact by turning to the side, hoping to reduce the damage his body would take. Bang! Corey landed on a car, destroying the already destroyed car. Oh, fuck me. Corey groaned and cursed as he struggled to get up. He got up and took in deep breaths as he looked around, trying to figure out his situation. First of all, he was lucky that he landed on a car, which reduced the damage he would have taken, and thankfully, he was no longer a normal human, or he would definitely be dead. Second of all, as luck would have it, he was close to his destination. In fact, very close to his destination. The male dormitory. That was the only place he knew that would allow him to lose the two Tier 1 creatures controlled by Kyle. If he could lose the Tier 1 creatures, he would definitely have a chance to fight back. Corey looked around to make sure he was not going to be sneak attacked, and after finding that there was nobody around him, which was strange, he took in a deep breath, resisted the pain and exhaustion he was going through, and ran towards the male dormitory, which was around 20 m away from him. Just as Corey was 10 meters away from the door, he felt his skin tingle, and without hesitation, he jumped to the side. Bang! The ground where Corey was got charred as a bolt of lightning struck it from above. You just refuse to die, don't you? A cold voice rang out, causing Corey to look back, and when he did, he gulped. Behind him was Mr. Perfect and Handsome, dropping from the air in slow motion, looking like a cool superhero or villain to be precise, with his two pets right behind him. As for Matt and Mac, Corey didn't know, nor did he care. I didn't want to dash. Just as Kyle was speaking, Corey did not bother listening to him and dashed towards the door of the dormitory. Focus! Corey entered his focus state, and just as he did, he felt something coming towards him like lightning. He dodged to the right, but just as he did, his instincts sent warning bells to him, and he rolled once again, dodging the claws of the cursed chimera. He got up and continued his run, and just as he did, he felt the ground shake beneath him. Corey jumped using super jump, and just as he did, the demi-basilisk appeared beneath him. Not from underneath the ground, though, from behind him. Corey landed on the body of the demi-basilisk and ran on it, greatly annoying the demi-basilisk. Just as the demi-basilisk was about to coil around itself, Corey quickly jumped using super jump and landed at the door of the dormitory. And just as he did, he abruptly swerved to the right, dodging a bolt of lightning, causing it to destroy the plane Corey had placed on the door handles previously. A stunned look appeared on his face, and he turned towards Kyle and gave him a thumbs up. Thanks for the assist. Always knew you were a good friend. Without waiting for Kyle's reply, Corey opened the door, ran inside, then closed the door. The Tier 1 creatures moved towards the door wanting to break it down, but Kyle spoke, his tone containing anger, frustration, and annoyance. Stop! The Tier 1 creatures stopped, and just as they did, two voices sounded out. Leader! Leader! Matt and Mac shouted out loud from afar, causing Kyle to look at them. A hint of dissatisfaction appeared in his eyes. Leader, did you get the bastard? Matt, ignorant about Kyle's expression, asked and looked around, expecting to see Corey's corpse. He escaped. Kyle replied nonchalantly, then turned back and walked towards the door. Meanwhile, Matt and Mac were shocked hearing Kyle's words. Although Mac knew that Corey was alive when his brother asked, due to him noticing the leader's dissatisfied expression, he was still shocked. He just could not believe that Corey escaped their leader. Not only was he shocked, Matt was also. Matt and Mac saw Kyle stand in front of the door while pouring a purple liquid on the ground. Matt and Mac's expression changed seeing the purple liquid. Won't that thing attract a lot of revenants? Matt asked. That's the goal. Kyle replied indifferently. But why don't we enter the building and kill the bastard? Since we're all together, he should not be able to escape. Max suggested, and Kyle, who had just finished pouring out all the liquid, threw the empty bottle away and formed a ball of water above his hands, using it to clean his hands. After cleaning his hands, he spoke. This building is a dungeon. Matt and Mac's eyes widened as they looked at the building with a different light. They had gone to a few dungeons before, and they knew that if a monster entered the dungeon, it would not be able to come out. Which means if the cursed chimera and the demi-basilisk enter the dungeon, they would not be able to leave, which would ruin their goals since the two creatures were the key to accomplishing their goals. Knowing this, they no longer had the idea of attacking Corey in the dungeon. Meanwhile, Kyle looked at the dungeon with a strange expression. This is the dungeon where I'm meant to get the divine blood. Is it possible for Zane to take it away? No, it's not possible. It's my destiny to be great, and having that divine blood would make me great. Zane can never steal my destiny. It's impossible. I'm the supreme magus. I'm above all. With this thought in Kyle's head, Kyle walked away from the building and Mac, and the two Tier 1 creatures followed. A/N. And we're finally done with the chase. Fucking finally. There were so many times I just wanted to write the bad guy attacked and Corey blocked, dodged, or got lucky. I was damn tired of writing the chase, because I want the story to advance. I so much want to reach Volume 2, or at least the ending of Volume 1. So right now, our boy Corey is going to gain some power-ups, but it would not be mad power-ups, cause the mad power-ups comes when he becomes Tier 1. Also, please drop Power Stones, golden tickets, and gifts. Especially gifts. I'm not making a single cent cause of my promise to y'all. So please, even if it's a cola, I appreciate it. Have a great day/night, people. As Kyle and his group walked away from the dormitory, looking for their next set of victims, Corey, who was in the dormitory currently, had an elated expression as he held a black spear in his hands. Finally, a new weapon. Corey spoke with relief, then looked at the corpse of the first ever black smiley he encountered. Thanks for the weapon. Corey bowed, then walked towards the storage room on the first floor of the dormitory. Behind him were the corpses of the smileys that entered the dormitory with the black smiley. Killing all the normal smileys was not a problem for Corey after entering the dormitory. What gave Corey a slight challenge was the black smiley, which was level 65, 11 levels higher than him. On a normal day, Corey would have faced no challenge killing the black smiley. But right now, Corey's body was not in a good shape at all. If Corey did not have a high constitution and also level 3 pain resistance, he would definitely not be able to move. In fact, he would be dead. Due to all the damage Corey's body had taken, Corey had to use his stamina to enter his focus state so as to kill the black smiley quickly. After killing the black smiley, Corey took its soul stone, then took the black spear, which was the weapon of the black smiley. Right now, Corey was too weak and tired to bother checking the description of the spear. He just wanted to find a place to sleep and heal. He was happy that he didn't have to continue running or fighting Kyle and his group anymore. So he really just wanted to sleep and rest. Please, God of all doors, let the room behind this door be normal. Corey pleaded as he stood in front of the door, which led to the storage room of the first floor. He placed his hands on the door handle, then he opened the door while gripping his spear tightly, ready to defend against any attack. Corey, with slight anxiousness, looked at the room, which was now wide open with cautiousness, expecting the room to have a terrible monster inside like his past experiences with doors. But when he saw no monster and only a room that had brooms, buckets, mops, and various other stuffs, he released a breath of relief. He loosened the grip on his spear and walked inside. He closed the door, locked it with the lock of the door, then moved various stuffs to the front of the door so as to reduce the chances of somebody or something opening the door. After doing all of that, Corey cleared a space for himself, groaned as he crouched, then slept on the hard floor while hugging his spear. The moment his mind and body relaxed, he fell into a deep sleep the next second, not knowing the chaos he was going to wake up to. 16 hours later, Corey moaned softly as his eyes opened, finally bringing him back from the dream world. He sat up and yawned, then he looked around. He sighed softly, realizing that he was not in immediate danger. He moved closer to the wall of the storage room, then rested his back on it. His head slanted backwards, and he closed his eyes for a few seconds, enjoying the silence. As his eyes were closed, memories of the past days rushed into his head. He remembered everything that happened ever since the apocalypse, how he was constantly in dangerous situations that could end his life once and for all, how he had always been running, been escaping, first from the Smileys, then from Kyle and his group. Remembering Kyle, a slight pain, which could not be described in words, appeared in his heart. He was not extremely hurt by Kyle's betrayal despite Kyle being one of his closest friends. It was not that he did not see Kyle as a friend. It was just that ever since he got his gift, his talent, at the back of his mind, he just knew that betrayals would occur a lot in the type of world they were currently living in. He just did not expect Kyle to betray him and want to kill him. The funniest part? He doesn't even know why Kyle was doing all that he did. What was his plan? What did he want to achieve? Corey did not know. The one thing Corey knew was that he needed something badly. Strength. Power. He needed to become stronger, much stronger, so as to not run away every single time from monsters or people stronger than him. He needed strength to avoid being used and killed by people like Kyle. Corey was not stupid. Ever since Corey left the cafeteria, he was always bothered about something. How come the number of survivors he met was small? How come he rarely met new survivors? Corey didn't know what happened to most of the students, but he had a feeling that it was connected to Kyle. This was another reason he needed strength, to avoid a fate where he would be killed easily just because he was not powerful enough to defend himself. Corey was tired of running all the time. He needed strength to not run all the time. Corey did not want to be caught off guard and not have the ability to defend himself. He needed strength for that. Also, Corey definitely did not want his sister to be stronger than him forever. So he definitely needed more strength for that. To become stronger. Much stronger. There are a few things I must do. Corey muttered as he looked at his clenched fists. His mind rapidly spun, and a look of determination appeared in his eyes. His plan was crazy, in fact, downright crazy. It could cost him his life, but if he could do it, if he could accomplish his plan, then he would definitely come out stronger than before. And to become stronger, he needed 3 things. First, this dungeon, or to be more specific, the Tier 1 monsters of this dungeon. His plan was to kill all the Tier 1 monsters and absorb their soul stones while at a lower level than the monsters. Doing that would allow his basic attributes to increase a lot, while he might also gain skill crystals or even items from the Tier 1 creatures. It was ambitious and foolish for Corey to have such thoughts on fighting Tier 1 monsters when he was literally running from Tier 1 creatures not too long ago, which led to the second thing Corey needed for his plan to work. Corey opened his status window, then willed for the item he bought from the merchant before meeting up Kyle to appear on his hand. A black binocular appeared from nowhere on Corey's hand. This black binocular was the most important thing he needed to get stronger. The binocular was an object that had the properties of a normal binocular, but it was also a binocular that could allow somebody to see through walls, doors, and even some barriers. With this binocular, he could stay safely behind the door which sealed the Tier 1 monsters, and he could use it to observe the Tier 1 creatures with his record ability, analyzing the monsters. If he could record the monsters fully, he could fight the monsters in the virtual space of the Library of Records. He would keep on fighting the Tier 1 monsters until he learns every single thing about them, and he's able to kill them in the Library of Records. After knowing all their abilities and also been able to kill them, he would then fight and kill them real life, gaining their soul stones and whatever item or skill they drop. It was an idea Corey had ever since he realized the full potential of Record. Corey had ideas on how to utilize Record so well that if all goes well, he would never have to risk his life in battles anymore. The last thing Corey knew he needed a long time ago was a new weapon. Corey had gotten tired of using a dagger due to its extremely short reach. Its short reach was a major disadvantage in his eyes and was the main reason he decided to tie a string to the handle of Smile Reaper. Now that Corey got a spear, he felt elated because a spear or a normal sword was the ideal weapon in Corey's eyes. Now that Corey had this spear, he decided to check it out. But as he looked at it, he noticed something weird. Even when he held it with his right hand, the universal system did not ask him if he wanted to obtain ownership, which made him wonder if it was because the spear did not appear from thin air, but was the weapon of the Black Smiley. He didn't know what the difference was, but he didn't care. He looked at the equipment section of his status window, and there he saw a change. Equipments. Broken Ghost Reaper, red grade. Binoculars, red grade. Black Spear, red grade. There were 3 changes. First, there was broken in front of Ghost Reaper. Second, the Ghost Cloak had disappeared from the equipment section, which made sense since Corey knew the cloak had taken so much damage that he was basically wearing rag. The third was the addition of the Black Spear. He checked for the information of the Black Spear. Black Spear, a spear which has high durable properties for a weapon of its grade, can induce fear in non-awakened ghost-like entities and has a possibility of inducing slight fear in awakened ghost-like entities. Has the ability to hurt and kill ghost-like entities that are below Tier 2. Although the spear did not have amazing abilities, Corey was just satisfied he had a new weapon, and according to the universal system, it was durable. Corey stood after checking out the weapon and observed his body. He checked out the right side of his chest, which had a hole in it previously, and was shocked to see that the hole had reduced a lot. The hole was now the size of a pencil. Although the hole was there and would definitely cause pain to an average human, he could ignore the pain. He rotated his right arm, finding it to be much better than before. I guess having a high constitution helps more than I expected. Corey muttered, then looked at the door. He took in a deep breath and walked to the door, wanting to go to the rooms which had the Tier 1 creatures. Expecting no danger, he removed the things he blocked the door with and opened it. But the moment he did, Corey had a stunned expression the moment he saw what was outside the room. Lots and lots of smileys. Normal smileys. Black smileys. They were everywhere. Corey could not count just how many were in front of him. The smileys also looked at Corey the moment he opened the door. Well, I guess you guys would become training dummies on how to use Smile Reaper 2.0. Let's go Smile Reaper 2.0, Corey said, a smile appearing on his face. A massacre was going to begin. Huff, huff. That was more difficult than I expected, Corey muttered as he leaned against his bloodied spear, which was pierced into a corpse of a black smiley. He looked around and saw the carnage all around him. Hundreds of corpses were strewn all around him. Some corpses had holes in their bodies, while some had holes through their heads. There were even corpses that were dismembered. Some had their guts spilled out of their bodies. All in all, the first floor of the dormitory now looked like a mad slaughterhouse, which would cause fear and disgust in any normal human. Corey looked away from the carnage and looked at the open door of the dormitory. He frowned and groaned as he removed the spear from the corpse. He walked to the storage room he slept in, and a minute later, he walked out carrying a plank. He moved to the door, closed it, then placed the plank in the door handles. I don't know if this would keep out the smileys or other humans, but it's the best I can do for now. Corey spoke, then turned back. He walked to a black smiley, then crouched. He brought out the broken Smile Reaper and started dissecting the black smiley. Despite the fact that he didn't plan on absorbing any of the smiley's soul stone, the soul stones could be exchanged for coins, or he could even use them as money. In fact, speaking of coins, Corey forgot that smileys also drop coins after death, and looking at all the smileys he killed, he had quite a lot of coins to pick up. Sigh. This would take a long time. 2 hours later, Corey was currently on the stairs which led to the corridor that had the Tier 1 creatures. As he climbed it, memories of his life and death experiences on the stairs appeared in his mind, causing his face to grimace in embarrassment. Not wanting to dwell on those embarrassing times, he walked faster on the stairs, and a minute later, he reached the corridor of the sealed creatures. Corey took in a deep breath, suppressing his nervousness and excitement. He walked to the first door, which contained a room which had 4 monsters which were having a birthday party. For what he could remember, the monsters were level 75, 80, 90, and 95. The weakest was 21 levels higher than him, and for a normal person, fighting something 21 levels higher was plain suicide. And that was true for average beings. As for Corey, it was extremely dangerous fighting 4 monsters which were way higher level than him. In fact, it was not dangerous, it was plain suicidal. And yes, Corey was committing a suicidal act. Or to be precise, a virtual suicidal act. Corey brought out the binoculars, and with palpable excitement, he placed it on his eyes and pressed a button on the binoculars. The moment he did, his vision changed, and the door which was in front of him became transparent. He could see the 4 monsters which were seated round a cake with birthday decorations in the room. It works. It fucking works. Ha 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 ha. Corey laughed with palpable excitement. A few seconds later, he calmed down, then sat in a cross-legged position. He brought out a bag of chips and a bottle of soda, which he found in one of the rooms below. After opening them, he placed the binoculars on his eye with one hand while the other was used to feed himself. Right now, all he had to do was wait and fully record the 4 monsters. After fully recording them, he would fight them in the virtual space of the Library of Records until he's able to kill them. So all he had to do was wait. If Kyle or any other knowledgeable person heard of Corey's plan, they would be stunned and vomit blood and anger due to injustice. The dungeons was a very dangerous place where death could happen anytime, but due to Corey's talent and the nature of this dungeon, Corey could take the easy way out and not risk his life. It was basically cheating. Due to how dangerous this dungeon was, Kyle, despite how powerful he was, dared not to enter this dungeon and challenge the monsters in it. But Corey, who was definitely not as strong as Kyle, dared to challenge the dungeon because of his cheat talent skill. If Kyle knew, he would not be as calm as he was when Corey entered the dormitory. As for Corey, he didn't care what anybody thought. He was going to stay in the dungeon for as long as he needed to until he was able to kill all the dungeon monsters. Munch. FFFFFFF. Thank God there's no one here. Corey muttered with an embarrassed expression, then stood up while holding his stomach. He needed to find a toilet. 2 days later, Corey, who was sitting in a cross-legged position, opened his eyes and grabbed his spear. His eyes were filled with coldness, battle intent, and determination. He released a breath, then stood. He walked to the door in front of him, and without hesitation, he opened it. Inside, the 4 monsters which were sitting looked at Corey, and Corey looked at them calmly. A second later, Corey threw his spear upwards softly, then caught it, and without hesitation, he threw it at one of the monsters the next second with full force. Bang! The spear went through the head of the monster and pierced into the wall behind it. Silence reigned for a second before. Roar! The remaining 3 monsters roared collectively in anger, seeing their brethren die. Corey remained calm, seeing the 3 monsters come at him. Focus! Entering his focused state, Corey ran to the monster that had 6 small eyes on its face. From his experience, this was the second most annoying monster he needed to kill fast. The first was the monster he quickly killed by throwing his spear. That monster was the weakest in terms of level, but it had a very annoying item which could cause him to see illusions. During the numerous times he faced the 4 monsters in the virtual space of the Library of Records, he knew that the first monster was the most annoying and caused most of his deaths. The second most annoying monster he needed to kill was this monster that had 6 eyes. The monster could use mental attacks against him, which would stun him or sometimes give him serious headaches. The only way he could resist the mental attacks was when he was in his focused state, and because of that, he needed to kill the monster fast. Learning from his past experience, Corey ran with full speed towards the monster, but just as he was running, another monster appeared at his side and punched his head. Corey, knowing how dangerous this punch was, dodged to the side opposite the monster and continued running towards the monster with 6 eyes. He didn't have time to worry about the monster that just attacked. Roar! Bam bam! He had a roar of anger behind him and the sound of heavy footsteps. His eyes flashed, and he continued running towards the monster with 6 eyes. His speed was faster than the monster behind him, and he knew that the last monster won't attack him, so his eyes was only set on the monster with 6 eyes. Just as he was close to it, he felt a slight headache, and he knew that the monster just tried to use its mental attack. Corey, knowing that it would never work, ignored it, and just as he got close to the monster, the Broken Smile Reaper 1.0 appeared in his right hand. He jumped and kicked the monster's head, sending it flying. Bam! The monster landed heavily, and a strange sound was emitted from its trunk-like mouth. It tried to get up, but Corey obviously would not allow that, so he jumped towards it and stabbed its head with the Broken Smile Reaper 1.0, killing the monster. Without wasting a single second, Corey left the Broken Smile Reaper 1.0 in the monster's head and ran to his spear, Smile Reaper 2.0. Removing the spear from the wall, he turned around, looked for the monster that was actually the most dangerous and had the highest level. He saw the monster, and when he saw what it was about to do, his pupils constricted, and without hesitation, he threw the spear at it with all his power. Bang! The spear went through the monster's head and got stuck in the wall behind it once again. Seeing that the monster was dead, Corey released a breath of relief. He had killed the 3 most dangerous monsters in this room. The first was the level 75 monster that could cause illusions with an item. The second was the level 80 monster with 6 eyes and could use mental attacks. The third was this level 95 monster that he just killed. The level 95 monster was a monster that would not attack unless 2 other monsters were dead or it was attacked. The monster had a humanoid head, but its body was like that of a tree. Once the monster wants to attack, its body would expand, and tree roots would cover the entire room, making the entire room the monster's domain. If that had happened, Corey would definitely die, because every root had the ability to absorb the life force of any living thing, and Corey would definitely not be able to escape the domain. It was because of the skill that the monster would not use its skill unless two other monsters were killed or it was attacked, since the domain could not differentiate between friend or foe. Roar! A roar of anger resounded in the room, bringing Corey out of his thoughts. Now it's just you and me, buddy. Corey cracked a smile and his knuckles as he ran towards the level 90 monster in his focused state. The monster with immense anger ran towards the bastard that killed its brothers, wanting to tear the bastard limb by limb. As Corey got close to the monster roared, then slammed both of its hand down, expecting it to smash Corey into pieces, but Corey, having experienced that before, definitely did not want to experience that in real life. So he rolled to the right, and without wasting a second in delay, he dashed past the monster and ran to his spear. Removing the spear from the wall, he dodged without turning back, and bang! A giant hand appeared in the wall, piercing the spot was Corey's head was before. Corey, who was now behind the giant of a monster, had a grin on his face. Everything was going according to plan. He had practiced all of this so many times in the virtual space of the Library of Records. The feeling of everything going according to plan filled Corey with joy, especially the next part. Smile Reaper 2.0. Do your thing, Corey said, and the monster, which was trying to bring out its stuck hand from the wall, felt an intense sensation of danger. Roar! It roared, then tried to remove its hand from the wall quickly, but it was too late. Corey held Smile Reaper 2.0, and without hesitation, he plunged the tip into the asshole of the monster and pushed it deep into the body of the monster. A whimper escaped from the mouth of the monster before it breathed its last. A death which it definitely did not deserve would scar it even in the afterlife. Who told you to have such a thick skin, huh? In your next life, have a normal skin and maybe you won't die like this again. Corey said, then removed the spear from the asshole of the monster. But the moment he did, a grimace of disgust appeared on his face. Does this bastard shit himself every time? Corey cursed as he looked at his spear, which had brown and black substances on it. He held the spear by the tip of the handle, dropped it on the floor, then removed the clothes of the monster and used it to clean his precious Smile Reaper 2.0. As he was cleaning it, he hummed a song. Although the fight might have seemed easy to an outsider, it was only easy because Corey had experienced all the abilities of the monsters and died so many times that he was able to kill all the monsters. He was quick in his actions and responses. He did not give the monsters the time to use their full abilities, and as for the last monster, he killed by asshole penetration. It was because the skin of the monster was so hard and tough like iron that Corey Smile Reaper 2.0 could not pierce its skin. The monster was meant to be the tank of the team, and when Corey faced the monsters at the beginning, this particular monster also gave Corey lots of headaches when he thought of how to kill it. He could target the eyes, but the reflexes of the monster was not bad, and it would definitely not allow Corey to target its eyes easily. It was because of all that Corey decided to kill it through the asshole. He didn't care if it was a disgusting and shameful way of attacking. In Corey's eyes, he was alive, the monster was dead, he was the victor, the monster was the loser. What did it matter if he killed the monster through asshole penetration? Some might care, but he definitely did not. What he cared about right now was removing the damn shit on his Smile Reaper 2.0. Although it took longer than Corey expected, he was finally able to clean off all the shit from Smile Reaper 2.0. He looked at his spear with satisfaction, then he stood. He was about to check for his loot from the corpse of the unfortunate monster, but just as he took one step, he heard a growl behind him. He was shocked and confused. He looked back, and the moment he did, a stunned and dazed expression appeared on his face. A giant chocolate cake monster with 3 lighted candles appeared before him. It had giant teeth on its body, but no eyes. Despite it having no eyes, one could see that it was extremely angry. Meanwhile, Corey, Keiki. Corey spoke subconsciously as he saw the huge chocolate cake monster in front of him. Just as he was wondering whether he smoked some pot recently, but he had forgotten, Keiki attacked, bringing Corey out of his stunned state. A chocolate tentacle popped out of Keiki and whipped towards Corey. Corey jumped to the side, not wanting to take his chances by blocking the attack. Bang! His decision was proven right when he saw the hole in the floor, which was caused by the tentacle. Corey looked away from the hole, then looked at Keiki, which now had more chocolate tentacles coming out from it. Seeing the wiggling chocolate tentacles made Corey to shiver in disgust. His love for chocolate cakes was dwindling by a lot. Cake was never meant to have tentacles growing out of it, especially chocolate cake, which was his favorite. He was not sure if he could eat a chocolate cake properly anymore. Corey thought as he looked at the monstrosity that looked like a cake. Just as Corey was looking at Keiki, Keiki attacked him by whipping its chocolate tentacles at him. Focus. Corey entered his focused state, seeing the incoming tentacles. The tentacles that were extremely fast and encompassed him like an inescapable net became slower in his eyes. Taking a deep breath, he moved slightly to the right, dodging the first tentacle. He took a step forward and dodged another. Corey continued like that, moving closer to Keiki's body as he dodged one tentacle after the other. When he was close to the Keiki's body, the monster lunged at Corey, trying to swallow him, but Corey quickly rolled to the side, dodging the attack. Bam! Keiki fell after missing Corey, and Corey, seeing such an opportunity, ran towards Keiki. Holding Smile Reaper 2.0, he stabbed it into Keiki's body, which was way larger than him. Not bothered by the fact that his attack was like a toothpick attack, he gripped Smile Reaper 2.0 tightly, then he ran round Keiki with Smile Reaper 2.0 inside of it. Bam! Keiki, next time don't try to make me dislike chocolate cakes. Corey clicked his tongue with disgust as he looked at the split body of Keiki. Looking at the body of Keiki, Corey wondered why his record did not record it throughout the time he was observing the room. Was it because it was a cake? Corey thought, but he dismissed it immediately. His record ability could record and give a detailed analysis on any living thing. Although Keiki was a cake, he felt it should qualify as a living thing. Was it because I didn't recognize it as a living thing? The more Corey thought about it, the more he felt it might be the actual reason for record not recording Keiki. It was either that or it was because the monster could hide from record using some special ability. Arg, I'll find out the reason eventually. Corey ruffled his hair in frustration. He was about to walk to one of the four monsters to get his loot, but just as he took a step, his eyes widened with shock. No way. Corey looked at the split Keiki, which was squirming and gluing itself back together. No, you don't. Corey ran to the squirming body of Keiki, then stabbed it once again with Smile Reaper 2.0. He ran round the body twice this time around. Not only did he run twice, he slashed at the cake so many times, cutting huge parts of it into small pieces. He could definitely not allow Keiki to regenerate fully. He didn't know how he was meant to fully kill Keiki, but he hoped that if he cut it into tiny pieces, it would not be able to regenerate. Just as he was slashing at the body of Keiki, alarm bells rang out in Corey's mind. Iron Skin. Without hesitation, he used the only defensive skill he had, turned around, then placed Smile Reaper 2.0 horizontally in front of him. Bam! Bang! Cough, cough. Corey coughed after getting slammed into a wall. He groaned and shook his head to rid himself of the dizziness. After doing that, he looked to his front, wanting to know what the hell attacked him. And just as he did, his eyes widened with disbelief. What the fuck? He cursed out loud, seeing the absurdity in front of him. The monster he had killed by sticking Smile Reaper 2.0 into his asshole was fucking alive. It was the monster that attacked Corey by punching him. Despite blocking the punch with Smile Reaper 2.0, he was still sent flying, which showed how much strength the monster he had. As Corey was wondering what the actual fuck was going on, his heart skipped a beat, and he looked away from the giant monster. Please don't tell me. Corey hoped, but his hopes were dashed when he saw his worst fears come to pass. The monster with a tree-like body was also revived, and to his horror, he could see it crouch, wanting to touch the floor. Fear gripped his heart, seeing the monster's hand almost touching the floor. He quickly stood while grabbing Smile Reaper 2.0, and he threw it with so much force that it reached the tree-like monster in a second, impaling it on the wall. Seeing the tree-like monster getting impaled on the wall, without moving or getting revived, Corey released a huge breath of relief. That was close. Click. His expression changed when he heard that familiar clicking sound, and without hesitation, he closed his eyes. The moment he did, the room was filled with a white light for a second before it receded. Corey opened his eyes, and he looked at the source of the clicking sound and white light with disbelief. Why is this bastard also alive? He cursed as he saw a monster holding an antique camera. The monster was the first monster he killed when he entered the room, and the antique camera was the item that could cause illusions. Bam bam. Corey was jolted out of his thoughts as he felt the ground shake beneath his feet. Shit, he cursed and looked at the giant monster running towards him. Click. Just as he was about to move out of the way, he heard a clicking sound, and his expression changed to one of frustration, and he closed his eyes while still rolling away. A white flash covered the room for an instant before it dissipated. Corey quickly opened his eyes, and the moment he did, he saw the giant monster throwing a punch at him. Not surprised at this, he rolled away from the punch, dodging the punch. Click. The clicking sound resounded in the room, once again causing Corey to click his tongue in annoyance and frustration. He closed his eyes once again, but this time he dared not to stay in one place and moved around. A white flash appeared in the room once again for a second, and after it disappeared, Corey opened his eyes and seeing the giant monster coming at him, he calmly dodged the attack of the monster once again. Click. The click resounded once again, causing Corey's mouth to twitch. This was the reason he killed the monster immediately when he entered the room. He knew just how frustrating and annoying fighting with the camera monster around was. If he left his eyes opened when the flash from the camera appeared, he would be in an illusion for a short period of time, and that short period of time was exceedingly dangerous because the giant monster could kill him while he was stuck in the illusion. Corey was frustrated to the core whenever he fought the 4 monsters in the library of records because of this monster. The number of times he died just because he had to close his eyes was uncountable. Although the monster was alive right now, Corey knew he could kill it easily. He just had to get Smile Reaper 2.0. Corey looked in the direction of his spear, wanting to see how far he was from it. But when he did, he noticed something strange. A flame was gradually coming out from the body of the tree-like monster. Click. He closed his eyes, then rolled once again. Not wanting to lose sight of that flame, he looked at it. Then he saw a wisp of flame fly out from the tree-like monster. Corey followed the direction of the flame, and he saw it move to Keiki, which was regenerating much slower now for some reason. Click. Corey closed his eyes once again, then rolled. He looked at Keiki, wanting to see what happened to the flame, but he could not find it. Not wanting to give up, he observed the body of Keiki until he noticed something different. Click. Closing his eyes once again, he rolled. He looked at the oddity he noticed on Keiki, which was the candles on top of it. He ignored the candles on top of Keiki previously, but now he could see a difference. There were 3 candles on top of Keiki, but only one was lighted, the other 2 were dead. A coincidence? Corey thought, then looked. Click. TCH. Closing his eyes, he rolled once more, dodging the attack of the giant monster much to the monster's frustration. Corey couldn't be bothered with the giant monster, so he looked around, trying to confirm if his guess and theory was right. He noticed that only 3 out of the 4 monsters were revived, and Keiki had only 3 candles. He killed one of the revived 3 monsters, and only 1 candle was lighted. Hope it works. Corey thought. Then he grabbed Smile Reaper 2.0, which was near him after all the rolling he did. Click. Closing his eyes for the last time, he waited for the flash to disappear. After it disappeared, he jumped far away to the left, and with cold, calm eyes, he released Smile Reaper 2.0. Whoosh. Sayonara, bitch. Bang. Smile Reaper 2.0 pierced through its head, leaving it deader than dead. Corey skipped backwards repeatedly after throwing Smile Reaper 2.0, so as to keep on moving away from the giant monster. His eyes never left the camera monster, waiting to see if his guess would be proven right. And a few seconds later it was. Another wisp of flame escaped from the camera monster. Then it flew to one of the dead candles, lighting it. Seeing that, a smile appeared on his face. He ran to his spear, ignoring the giant monster behind him. Since he was faster than the giant monster, he reached his spear while widening the distance between them. He ran to Keiki, which was still trying to regenerate. Corey could see that its regeneration was faster than when it only had one candle lighted. He jumped on top of Keiki where the candles were located, but tentacles popped out from its head, wanting to attack Corey. Focus. Entering his focus state, he could dodge the tentacles which had not fully formed, and to Keiki's horror, Corey got close to one of the lighted candles. He stabbed Smile Reaper 2.0 into Keiki, since he could not just drop his precious weapon. He looked at the flame on the candle, and, with a calm coldness, he placed his hand on both sides on the flame, then clapped with full force. Roar! A roar of pain resounded in the room from Keiki, but Corey could not care less about that. He removed Smile Reaper 2.0, then ran to the next lighted candle. As he was running, he felt his legs was beginning to sink like he was in quicksand. He looked down and noticed that Keiki's head was trying to suck him and swallow him up. Realizing this, and without panic, he jumped using Super Jump, and he successfully got out of the trap. Continuously using Super Jump, Corey finally reached the last lighted candle, then clapped with full force, extinguishing the candle. Ruhar! A much louder roar of pain was released from Keiki, and its body started to shake and melt slightly. Corey jumped off Keiki and saw the giant monster, which had an expression of anger. Sorry, buddy, but it seems like you're going to die an embarrassing death again, Corey said with an apologetic expression while rotating his spear. The monster felt a chill run down its spine, but ignored all of it and ran to Corey, wanting to destroy him for all it had done to it and its family. 2 minutes later, Corey removed Smile Reaper 2.0 from the asshole from the giant monster with a disgusted expression. He looked at Keiki and was surprised that it had melted and was now like a liquid. He extinguished the flame from the giant monster before it could reach Keiki, which killed it. He shrugged, then looked around, hoping that no other surprises would happen once again. After waiting for a minute and seeing nothing happen, he exhaled, then sat with his back against the wall. He looked up for a few seconds and said, "This shit hard." /n. Yeah, so when I reread this chapter 1, realized it was weird. If you found it weird and boring, sorry for that. I'll try not to write chapters like this again. Please don't forget to vote using Power Stones and also drop gifts. By the way, I want to say a big thank you to Joseph_Wooten for dropping 6 golden tickets. I really appreciate it, man. Thanks so much. Also, a big thank you to y'all that vote using Power Stones also. You know what? A big thank you to all of you that read my book every day. I really appreciate it. So like I said previously, Joseph_Wooten is the 3rd person to drop at least 2 golden tickets, and for that, your name would be in my novel. You can tell me what wish you want and I'll use it, or if you want, I can give you the wish instead. Once again, a big thank you to all of you. Now let's see what good things you 5 monstrosities have for me. Corey rubbed his hands in anticipation as he looked at the pile of shiny crystals and items in front of him. He had already dissected the bodies of the 4 dead monsters and removed their soul stones, and also picked up the skill crystals and items that was dropped by the monsters. As for Keiki, since it had already turned to liquid, its soul stone was out in the open, and he did not need to dissect Keiki. Which one should I absorb first? Corey muttered as he looked at the soul stones of the 5 monsters. After thinking about it for a few seconds, he took the soul stone of the level 75 monster, the annoying monster that had the antique camera. He was tempted to absorb the soul stone of Keiki or the tree-like monster first since their levels were the highest, but after thinking about it, he decided not to. He remembered the games he used to play, and he knew that the higher your level, the more difficult it would be to level up, and the fastest way to level up would be by killing higher-level monsters. Although absorbing the tree-like monster and Keiki's soul stone first might give him more attributes and more levels, if he absorbed those 2 first, the lower-leveled soul stones would not give him much attributes points. Realizing all of this, Corey held the level 75 soul stone in his right hand. A pop-up window appeared, asking if Corey wanted to absorb the soul stone. Absorb. Corey gave his consent, and an orange light appeared on his right hand, engulfing the soul stone, eventually turning it to dust. The same sensation Corey felt whenever he leveled up, he felt it again. He looked at his right hand, trying to understand the energy that was transferred into his body and was making him stronger. Despite Corey's attempts, he failed to understand the energy, but he was not disappointed nor disheartened by his failure. The energy feels like mana, but at the same, it does not feel like mana. Corey rubbed his beardless chin for a few seconds before he shrugged. He was just curious about the energy and how the universal system could make him as strong as he was right now. He didn't really care if he could understand the energy or not. He took the next soul stone, which was the soul stone that belonged to the level 80 monster that had 6 eyes and could use mental attacks. Another pop-up happened, and he absorbed it. After absorbing it, he absorbed the soul stones of the level 90 giant monster and the level 95 tree-like monster. He picked up the last soul stone, which was the soul stone of Keiki. After the fight, Corey was curious about the level of Keiki, and when he checked his book of recorded beings, he was confused when he saw the level of Keiki. Keiki was a level 100 tier 0 mimicry monster. Corey was confused because from what the merchant told him, when one reached level 100, they can advance to tier 1. After thinking about it, Corey guessed that Keiki was level 100 but had not advanced to tier 1. He eventually became curious on how monsters even advanced. Throwing his curiosity aside, Corey held the soul stone of Keiki and absorbed it. The moment he did, Corey felt like something in him had changed. He could not explain it properly, but it was like he had broken some kind of barrier. As the energy from the soul stone flowed through Corey felt like he was floating on clouds. The feeling was addictive. 3 seconds later, the feeling ended and Corey clenched his fists. He felt way stronger than before. He was curious about what changed, so he pulled up his status window. Basic information. Name, Corey Jr. Zane. Race, human. Brand level, 2. Affiliation, none. Class, none. Talent, omniscience awakened. Language, English. Titles, one of the 4 possessors of 8 graded talent on planet New Earth. Tier, 0. Level, 54-86. Coins, 5 bronze coins. Attributes, Strength, 210-340. Agility, 212-310. Dexterity, 70-180. Constitution, 224-360. Intelligence, 500. Endurance, 115-300. Mana, 150-300. Free A.P, 96. Hidden attributes, Luck, /100. Charisma, /100. Wisdom, / Skills. Record talent skill. Danger sense, level 1. Silent steps, level 2. Night vision, unranked. Super jump, LV2. Undercover, level 1. Evade, level 2. Lock picking, level 1. Iron skin, level 1. Focus talent skill. Resistances. Fear resistance, LV1. Pain resistance, LV3-LV4. Equipments. Broken Ghost Reaper, red grade. Binoculars, red grade. Black Spear, red grade. Pet/mount, none. System remark. Congratulations, you achieved something which only the lowliest of the lowliest and the most useless among humans in the universe could not achieve. You broke past the stat limit of a normal human, which is 300. At least you should be proud of yourself. Your potential among normal humans is no longer amongst the lowest. You want to increase your potential? Well then, reach the true limit of normal humans and achieve stat maximization by making your attributes reach 500. Huh, where's the popcorn? A good show is about to happen. Am I tripping? As Corey looked at his status window, well, to be specific, the system remark, he could not help but wonder if he was seeing things or he had finally run crazy. He reread the system remark once again to make sure he was seeing right. Why does the system like abusing me and making fun of me? Is it because I call a useless universal system every time? In fact, why the hell does the system feel sentient? Am I in trouble? Corey thought with slight fear as he looked at the system remark. Do I need to ask for forgiveness from the system? Nope. I'm never gonna ask the useless system to forgive me. It's still useless. Deciding to be stubborn, Corey ignored the snarky comments of the system remark and observed his stats. His strength, agility, and constitution had crossed the 300 mark, which was some sort of limit for normal humans, according to what the useless universal system was saying. He didn't know what benefits were there in breaking past the limit, but he felt that it would definitely be beneficial to him. Another thing he noticed was that his intelligence stat was stuck on the 500 mark, which was the highest stat a normal human could achieve. His endurance and mana were exactly on the 300 mark, not breaking past the limit. As for his dexterity, it is what it is. Corey shrugged. Right now, he had a goal. He wanted to make all his stats reach 500. Although he would not be able to reach Tier 1 even after his stats reached the maximum, he believed that his chances of survival against the Tier 2 creature at the Academy gates would increase if he maximized his stats. Corey looked at his status window once again, and he noticed another thing that was different. His pain resistance had increased by 1 level. It was no longer level 3, but level 4, which was not surprising to Corey considering how much pain and suffering he had gone through. After making sure there was nothing else that changed, Corey looked at the skill crystals and items on the floor. He decided to start with the skill crystals first. He picked up the skill crystal, which came from a monster with 6 eyes with his right hand. Then a translucent screen popped up from his right hand. He looked at it with curiosity. Mental manipulation resistance skill crystal detected. Absorb? Yes or no? A/N. I decided to put the names of the skills in the crystals since I realized it wouldn't make sense if I didn't. Corey's eyes lit up when he saw the name of the skill in the skill crystal, and without hesitation, he absorbed it. The skill crystal turned to dust, and Corey felt something different flow into his body than it reached his brain. A few seconds later, the sensation ended and Corey pulled up his status window. He checked the resistance section. Resistances. Fear resistance, LV1. Pain resistance, LV4. Mental manipulation resistance, LV1. He tapped on the new addition to the resistance section, causing the screen to change. Mental manipulation resistance, LV1 grants the holder the ability to resist mental attacks that are from Tier 1 creatures and below. Well, that was self-explanatory. Corey muttered, then looked at the second skill crystal, which was from the giant monster he killed by impaling Smile Reaper 2.0 inside his asshole. He picked it up, then a translucent screen popped up. Bronze Bones skill crystal detected. Absorb? Yes or no? Absorb. Corey gave the command, and the crystal was absorbed into his body. Corey, not expecting anything different, waited for the entire procedure to be over, but when the skill crystal was getting absorbed in his body, his face changed, and he cursed. Son of a dash. A groan escaped from Corey's lips as he felt so much pain that if not for his high pain resistance, he would be screaming and shouting in agony at this moment. Corey clawed at the ground as he felt his bones change. It was like molten magma was being poured directly onto his bones. Steam rose out of his body and sweat and blood poured out of his body also. Corey clenched his teeth tightly, not making a single sound as he waited for the entire process to be over. A minute later, Corey released a breath of relief as the pain and the procedure was over. He sprawled on the floor, which was covered in his sweat and blood, but he didn't care. He was mentally exhausted. Not releasing a single sound of pain during the procedure was not easy. This is why I said the system was useless. Corey muttered softly and closed his eyes for a few seconds before opening them. He sighed once again, then he decided to get up. He pressed his hand on the floor, but just as he did, crack! Corey looked at where his hand was, and he could see a small crack on the floor. What the hell? Corey cursed, and he stood, causing more cracks to form on the ground. This is why I said the universal system is useless. Why couldn't it warn me that the skill would make me heavier? Corey gritted his teeth in frustration before he sighed and sat down on the floor once again. I guess now I know that some skills can cause the body to change by a lot. Corey rubbed the middle of his eyebrows. Then he decided to just move on. What was done was done. He would be careful with the skills he chose next time. Let me see. Corey decided to check for the description of the skill, and the moment he did, he wanted to curse once again. No, he cursed once again. Bronze Bones. LV won a passive skill that turns the user's skin to bronze. It grants additional strength, additional defense, additional weight, and also reduces the agility and dexterity of the user. Effects: plus 10 strength, plus 10 constitution, minus 20 agility, and minus 10 dexterity. Son of a bitch. Corey cursed, then opened his attributes panel. He quickly added the lost 20 agility and 10 dexterity back to his stats, and after doing that, he calmed down. Thank God I decided to check my status window, Corey said, then looked at the last set of loot from the 5 monsters. There were 3 items. The camera, which was owned by the camera monster, a ring which came from the tree-like monster, and a ring which came from Keiki. Since he already knew what the camera could do, he took the ring that came from Keiki and waited for the useless universal system to do its thing. Orange grade item. Ring of mimicry. Replica detected. Do you want to obtain ownership? Yes or no? As Corey looked at the name of the ring, a strange thought appeared in his mind. Will the ring turn me to a cake? Corey looked at the ring, then he looked at Keiki, or at least what was left of Keiki. Surely the universal system isn't that petty, right? Corey muttered, then prayed to the goddess of luck to not let him turn to a cake. Oh, beautiful and sexy goddess of luck. Please, oh please grant me luck, and don't let this ring turn me into a cake. You are the greatest, most beautiful, sexiest, and fairest goddess of them all. Please grant me luck. Latum. Corey released a breath after praying, then he twisted his neck slightly, causing a crack to sound. Here goes nothing. If the ring turns me into a cake, the universal system is officially my #1 enemy. I want to obtain ownership. After Corey spoke, the ring glowed orange for a second before it receded, and Corey felt a connection between him and the ring. He opened his status window and checked for the description of the ring while praying to the goddess of luck. Ring of mimicry. Replica. A failed product formed after the blacksmith tried to replicate the mythical ring of mimicry. Grants the holder the ability to mimic most inanimate objects for 15 minutes, once every 24 hours. What the hell? Isn't this ring too useful and cool? Corey's mouth was wide open when he saw the ability of the ring. The system called it a failed product, but the ring was still very cool and useful in Corey's eyes. He could use it to enter the ladies' bathroom and act as a dustbin, toilet, or something. Then he would... Cough, cough. No dirty thoughts, Corey. No dirty thoughts. I'm not a pervert. I'm just a young man who just wants to get rid of his virginity. I'm not a pervert. I'm a pure soul with not a single dirty thought. Girls? Women? Were they? Are they eatable? Corey paused then. With a strange expression, he remembered something. I just remembered there's a part of girls that loves to be eaten. Sigh. My life is sad. Corey muttered depressingly as he looked at his boner with a depressed look. Huh. All right, Corey, back to business. Focus. Slapping himself, Corey tried to rid himself of every dirty thought. He was a pure soul, and a pure soul had 0 dirty thoughts. Well, he just wanted his boner to go down, that was it. Anyway, moving away from Corey's sad and lonely sexual life, Corey took the second ring that came from the tree-like monster. A pop-up window appeared on top of his right hand, and he read it. Orange grade item. Cursed Dryad's ring detected. Do you want to obtain ownership? Yes or no? Okay, that name sounds ominous. Corey looked at the dark green ring in his hands and was conflicted on whether he should obtain ownership of the ring. He was mainly worried that the ring could cause harm to him, but after thinking about how he needed all the power he could get, he decided to obtain ownership of the ring. He needed power, and the ring could grant him power. The ring was also an orange grade item, and the only other orange grade item he had was the ring of mimicry. Obtain ownership. An orange color flashed on the ring for a second before it disappeared completely. Corey felt a connection to the ring, and he opened his status window, wanting to see the description of the ring. Cursed Dryad's ring. The beloved ring of a lesser dryad, which became cursed after the lesser dryad became corrupted by dark forces. The ring has the ability to produce magical tree roots and branches which can absorb the life force of any being below Tier 1, transferring a percentage of the life force to the holder. Side effect: the holder would be attacked mentally at any time, even when they are asleep. Well, it's not as bad as I thought. Corey spoke as he looked at the description of the cursed dryad's ring. He didn't know how powerful the mental attacks would be, but he was not too worried since he had gotten mental manipulation resistance. Corey looked at the last item, the camera. He picked it up, but decided to check it out later. Right now, he wanted to leave this room and get a good night's sleep. /n, cough, was referring to myself there. I'm not lazy at all. He put the 2 rings on his fingers. Then he put the camera inside his inventory. He looked around, making sure he didn't miss anything. After finding nothing, he walked out of the room. His next destination? To find a room to sleep. After that, to challenge another room. 1 week later, Corey stood in front of another door with Smile Reaper 2.0 in his hand, while wearing nothing but boxers and also a headset on his neck. He looked away from the door and looked at the door opposite it. A look of reluctance flashed in his eyes before he turned away from the door and faced the door in front of him with determination. Here goes nothing, Corey said softly, then brought out 2 small rolled pieces of cotton fabric, which he was holding in his free left hand. He placed 1 piece of the rolled cotton fabric in one ear, then put the other in another ear. After doing that, he placed the headphones properly on his head, making sure it covered his ears properly. Come on, Corey, you can do this. You've done this 1,000 times. Pah! Slapping himself. He shook his head and jumped a few times trying to shake off the nervousness he was feeling. He released a breath, then walked to the door. Opening it, and a world full of dark water appeared before Corey. The water looked ominous, like there was a terrifying beast lurking in it, but Corey knew there was nothing in it except for 2 mermaid-like creatures. Corey decided to challenge the room that was filled with water and had 2 mermaid-like monsters in it. Honestly, it was not like he wanted to challenge this room. It was that he had no choice. He wanted to challenge the monster with a goat skull as its head, but that monster was frightening to say the least. Corey could not defeat the monster no matter what. The monster was smart, fast, powerful, and very, very experienced in combat. No amount of trickery worked against that monster, and all of Corey's gained combat experience were like child's play in front of the monster. Corey spent 3 days fighting the monster, but he could not defeat it no matter what. His stats were lower and, well, basically, he just could not defeat the damn annoying goat. After realizing that he might have to spend half a month or even a month fighting the monster, Corey decided to face another monster. Corey wanted to face a land-type monster if possible, but the only other land-type monster he could face was the half-snake monster or the multiple-hands monster. Corey felt like the multiple-hands monster or monsters was too powerful, so he tried the snake-like monster, but let's just say, it didn't end well for Corey at all. Snakey was so powerful that Corey had no chance against it even in his focused state. In fact, Corey had no way of damaging the skin of the monster. It was as harder than diamonds. Realizing that he wouldn't be able to kill Snakey unless he gets stronger, he had no choice but to go for the mermaid-like monsters. If possible, he would not want to fight the mermaid monsters because they were going to fight inside water, and humans were definitely not aquatic creatures. Although he knew that fighting in an aquatic environment would be difficult, Corey was stubborn and learned how to fight in water to a certain extent, or to be more precise, he didn't actually learn how to fight in water. He just found a way to kill the mermaid-like creatures in the ocean. He just hoped everything would go well. Taking in a deep breath, Corey observed the water in front of him, making sure that the 2 mermaid-like monsters were not close. After seeing that the coast was clear, he took in a deep breath, held his breath, then walked into the water, bypassing the barrier that was keeping the water from flowing outside. As he stepped inside the water, all he could see was darkness for a moment before his eyes glowed and his night vision skill was activated, granting him the ability to see. Just as he was waiting for the monsters to appear, he remembered something. He turned back and quickly closed the door behind him. Can't have any of the monsters escape, Corey thought, and just as this thought passed through his head, he felt the water behind him getting disturbed. He turned, and lo and behold, 2 identical mermaid-like monsters appeared before him, with the only difference between them and a mermaid was that they had tentacles instead of a large fish fin as their feet. The moment Corey saw the tentacle mermaids, he didn't want to waste any time since, well, his breath was limited. He willed for the camera he got from the camera monster to appear from his inventory. In the next second, It appeared, and Corey quickly pressed the flash button of the camera. Click! Flash! A white light flashed in the surroundings, illuminating the dark water for an instant. The moment the white light disappeared, Corey, whose eyes were open throughout, observed the tentacles mermaids. He noticed that the tentacle mermaids had dazed and confused expressions, which did not surprise Corey, since he knew how powerful the camera was. The camera was an object that could cause illusions if one looked at the white light that flashes whenever it was used. Although it could cause illusions, the duration of the illusions and whether the illusions would work depended on how powerful the mental strength and defense of the enemy and the user were. Yes, you read it right. User. The camera also affects a user, and if the user's mental strength or defense was weak, then he or she would also be affected by the illusions. But that did not apply to Corey, since his intelligence was almost high enough to ignore the camera, and he also had the mental manipulation resistance attribute, even if it was level 1. Corey was not sure whether the camera would work on the tentacle mermaids, because the tentacle mermaids were level 110 tier 1 creatures. Although Corey was worried, after Corey tried it in the library of records, all his worries were for naught because the camera worked, but it only worked for 3 seconds. And those 3 seconds were extremely vital to Corey. Corey stretched out his right hand and activated the Cursed Dryad's Ring. Some amount of mana was expended from his body, and a magical dark gray root appeared in the water. Corey, controlling it with his mind, quickly sent it to one of the tentacle mermaids, which was still dazed. He wrapped the tree root around the tentacles of the mermaid and quickly controlled the root, bringing it back to him with the mermaid attached. A second was left before the dazed expressions of the tentacle mermaids ended, and just as the second was over, the tentacle mermaid was at arm's length. The tentacle mermaid, having recovered from the illusion, had a look of confusion as it noticed its situation. It looked around, and just as it did, it noticed a pointy object coming straight at its head. It tilted its head in confusion, wondering what it was, but that was its last thought in sight. Poochie! Blood spilled, dyeing the dark water red as the life from the tentacle monster slipped away. Corey removed Smile Reaper 2.0 from the head of the tentacle mermaid, put its corpse inside his inventory so that it would not float away, then looked at the last tentacle mermaid, which had an expression of shock. Here it comes, Corey thought, then returned the camera into his inventory. He then used his left hand to press the left part of the headphone to his ear tightly. Scree! A scream louder than a bahi shook the waters immensely. Intense ripples formed across the water, and Corey groaned as his body vibrated due to the intense scream. The tentacle mermaid, seeing the root, tried to flee, but Corey, knowing he could definitely not allow that to happen, summoned the camera, and just as the tentacle mermaid was about to flee, he clicked the flash button. A white flash illuminated the surroundings, causing the tentacle mermaid to fall into an illusion once again. Knowing his time was limited, Corey quickly controlled the root to wrap around the tentacle mermaid and pulled it towards himself. Just as the monster was close to Corey, it woke up, breaking the illusion early due to the anger and hatred it had towards Corey for killing its sister. Not that Corey would care. Corey was slightly surprised seeing the tentacle mermaid break the illusion early. Although he was surprised, he was undeterred. He gripped Smile Reaper 2.0 tightly, ready to plunge it into the tentacle mermaid, killing it like its sister. But just as the tentacle mermaid was close, it screamed, once again causing Corey to grimace. His body shook and his ears bled the more, but he was so close to killing the monster, so he withstood the pain and waited for the monster to get close. A second later, it got close enough and Corey stabbed it, piercing its head with Smile Reaper 2.0. Phew! Corey tried to release a breath of air, but he stopped, temporarily forgetting that he was not on land and he was currently holding his breath. He spent a few seconds to calm himself down since his body was still in slight pain. He looked at the corpse of the tentacle mermaid, which was slowly sinking. Not wanting to lose his loot, he quickly caught it and put it in his inventory. He looked around, making sure he didn't miss anything, and after a few seconds, he noticed that the water was calm and empty. Well, that was easy, Corey thought, and just as he did, he felt something wrap around his ankle. Huh. He looked down and noticed a tentacle wrapped around his right ankle. Just as he was wondering what the thing around his feet was, an irresistible force pulled him down to the bottom of the ocean. Corey's eyes widened with shock and fear. He tried to resist, but the force was so strong that he was helpless against it. Fuck me and my stupid thoughts. /N. Important announcement. Please don't skip. Also read till the end. So you guys, currently I'm shedding tears of joy. So much tears of so much joy. Y'all are the best. Truly, truly the best. Do you know why y'all are the best? Now, yesterday I had 4 extra chapters which I planned on using for privileged chapters. But, you see, y'all reached the 30 Power Stones target, which made me really happy. So I released 2 chapters yesterday, 1 bonus and normal chapter, which means I had 2 extra chapters left. Now, I honestly thought that was all the bonus chapter 1 was going to release yesterday, but imagine the shock I had when I was about to sleep yesterday, and I saw that Michael Copeland dropped 4 golden tickets yesterday. I was happy, extremely happy, but then I realized that the golden ticket target was also reached, and I was like, another bonus chapter? All right, no problem. I'll release it when I wake up tomorrow since I'm extremely tired. So that means I have only 1 extra chapter left. It has reduced, but there's no problem. People are voting for my book, which means that they like my book, which also makes me happy. Now, I slept, and when I woke up, I checked the app, and I was absolutely, totally gobsmacked when I saw that you guys reached the 60 Power Stone target. Am I tripping? That was honestly what I asked myself. Like, no jokes, I asked myself that. So because of that, my last extra chapter was poof, gone, disappeared. I had to quickly write the normal chapter for today because of that. So now, after everything I've said, I have a few things to say. They're very important, so please don't skip. First, and most importantly, thank you all for voting like I really, really, really mean it. Thank you so much. You might think with what I wrote before I was maybe depressed, angry, or frustrated that you guys voted. No, no, no. I'm not. I was really, really happy. So a big thank you from me to everybody that read my book, drop comments, vote using Power Stones, vote using golden tickets, and also thank you to make _out09 for dropping gifts. Really appreciate it, man. Second, a big thank you to Went Theory and Winner for dropping, I think, 6 golden tickets. I was surprised, man. Thanks a lot. Like I promised, your name would be in my book. Also, if you have an ability or wish you specifically want, tell me and we can talk about it. If you don't worry. I'll think of one for you. So people, Went Theory and Winner is the 4th person to drop at least 2 golden tickets. Only 1 spot left. If you want your names in the novel, you can drop 2 or more golden tickets, or be among the first 5 people to drop gifts worth at least 5,000 coins. Now, third, I am once again increasing the Power Stone requirement for a bonus chapter. The number of collections have increased, and I really want to finish writing most of the privileged chapters before March 20th, because that's when I resume school, and I won't have time to write so much in school. So now the Power Stone requirement is 100 Power Stones for 1 bonus chapter, which means 100p.s equals 1 bonus chapter, 200p.s equals 2 bonus chapters, 300p.s equals 3 bonus chapters, 400ps equals 4 bonus chapters, and so on. Right now, I have 61 Power Stones. So when it reaches 100 Power Stones, I'll drop a new bonus chapter. Then the next requirement would be 200 and following, that would be 300 and so on. Yes, I know that the increase is much, like a lot, but I want to write the privileged chapters down. Please know that it's not like I don't want to give you guys bonus chapters, and it's not that I don't want you guys to vote for me. I really do. I really want you guys to vote for me. I don't know how to put it into words, so you know what? Just vote using Power Stones, golden tickets, and drop gifts. I appreciate every single one of them, no matter how small. The golden ticket requirement is still the same, by the way. Later, people. Shit. Not again. Why does this keep on happening to me? Corey wailed internally as he was pulled to the bottom of the water. He removed Smile Reaper 2.0 and slashed at the tentacles, hoping it would cut it off, but clang! The sound of metal hitting metal resounded in the water as Corey looked at the tentacle with disbelief. Why? Why in the world are you hard like metal? Corey had the urge to curse out loud. but knowing that doing that would be stupid and cause the situation to become worse, he kept his mouth shut. He put Smile Reaper 2.0 in his inventory and bent, trying to reach the tentacle that was wrapped around his ankle tightly. It was difficult, but he finally reached it. A muffled groan escaped Corey's lips as he tried to pry the tentacle open, no matter how small, so as to have a chance of escaping. But despite trying so hard, he could not pry the tentacle open at all. He tried and tried again, but it was like him trying to bend metal with his pre-apocalyptic strength. It was impossible. He stopped and looked down. What the fuck is pulling me down? Is it the mother of those mermaids? An octopus? Am I going to be Dash? Corey dared not complete his bone-chilling thought. The mere thought of him completing that thought sent shivers down his spine. The gears in his mind worked at full speed, trying to think for a way out of his dangerous situation. 3 seconds later, he looked at his right ankle with a conflicted expression. Should I? Corey thought, and his face contorted with an extremely conflicted and painful expression. The only method he thought of which could help him in this situation was to cut off his right feet and ankle. Doing that would grant him freedom, but it would cripple him, probably for life. If it was his hand or something else, he might not be so conflicted in sacrificing it, but his leg, he would not be able to walk again. If he could not walk, he would not be able to fight. And if he could not fight, he would not be able to meet his family and grow stronger. No, I have to think of another way. Corey thought with a slightly crazed expression. Focus. Entering his focused state, which would enable to think much faster, his mind worked extremely fast, and within a second, he thought of something. Deactivating his focused state, he looked at the ring of mimicry on his right finger, a hint of hope and anxiousness in his eyes. Please work. He activated the ring and closed his eyes, his mind forming an image of what he wanted from the ring. According to the useless universal system, the ring of mimicry gave the user of the ring the ability to mimic most inanimate objects. What the useless universal system did not say was how the user would mimic objects. Would he/she turn into the objects? Was it just an illusion? Or would the desired inanimate object appear from thin air? Corey was curious about this when he wanted to test the ring in the library of records, and when he did, he was shocked by what the ring of mimicry actually did to the user. When Corey decided to use the ring of mimicry in the library of records, he decided to use it to mimic a steel pole. He didn't have any idea what it turned into, so he just tried to turn into that. When he activated the ring to mimic a steel pole, he was shocked that his body became tougher and tighter like a steel pole. He tried to move in that state, but when he did, he felt his body go back to normal and the ring got deactivated. Corey was surprised by the ability of the ring after his body was back to normal. When he felt like a steel pole, he noticed that his body did not turn into a steel pole. It just felt like a steel pole. Corey did some experiments after that by turning into various inanimate objects, and from his experiments, he realized a few things. First, the user would feel like the inanimate object the user desires to turn into. Second, if the user moves when in his/her inanimate form, the ability of the ring would be canceled and the ring would need to be recharged in 24 hours. Though the user can move his/her head, but not rapid/fast movements. Third, the user would not only feel like the animate object, he/she might gain the properties of that inanimate object while in that form. It was this third observation from using the ring that Corey was currently depending on. He activated the ring and formed the image of a balloon. The moment he did, he felt uncomfortable when it felt like his body suddenly expanded. He opened his eyes and looked down at his body. His body definitely did not get bigger or expand. It just felt bigger to him. Just as Corey was trying to get used to this new sensation, he felt the tentacle holding his ankle slip off him. He moved his head downward slightly, trying to see the tentacle, but when he did, his eyes widened and his heartbeat quickened. His body almost shot upwards, instinctively trying to escape. Beneath him, probably around 200 m or more, was a large octopus with multiple eyes and tentacles on its body. The tentacle that was like a leash, which was pulling him down, was currently moving around erratically, probably trying to find the target which it lost. The giant octopus beneath Corey, Although it obviously had no expression, Corey felt it was also confused since it lost its prey. Meanwhile, Corey, who was now floating upwards, due to him having the characteristics of a balloon, dared not to move a single muscle for two reasons. One, if he moved, the ability of the ring would be deactivated. Two, he just found out something extremely frightening. His record ability was not recording the giant octopus beneath him at all, which meant that the giant octopus was above Tier 1. Just that thought sent chills down Corey's spine, and he could not help but curse his luck. Goddess of luck, why have you abandoned me? Wailing internally, Corey truly became an inanimate object and did not move at all. His eyes were glued to the giant octopus, which was now beginning to lose interest since it could not find its prey anymore. 10 seconds later, Corey could no longer see the giant octopus due to him floating upwards. He still remained motionless despite the giant octopus being out of his sight. It wasn't until 1 minute later that he moved, but not so much that he would deactivate the ring's ability. He sighed softly, then looked around. This place is actually so dangerous. Is a dungeon like this meant to be so dangerous? Corey pondered, but just as he was pondering, he realized something and his face became as white as snow. Where's the door? Corey thought, but could not find the door, which was the only exit to this dangerous water. He looked around, but he found nothing but water around him. The door was lost, or to be more specific, Corey was lost. Ever wondered what it felt like to be alone? Like completely alone? Not the alone where people ignore you and you don't have any friends or anybody to talk to. No, the alone where you're actually alone. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is around you. Nothing is around you. Well, except two things. Lots and lots of water and a terrifying octopus beast. Ignoring the octopus beast, now imagine being alone with nothing but water all around you. Nothing else, just water. Now if you were staying on a ship or floating on top of the water, it would be scary, yeah, but not so scary since you would at least be able to see the sky. There would be day and there would be nights filled with stars. There might even be rain, and who knows? There might even be snow. Now imagine, just imagine being so deep inside a body of water that the sky was no longer visible to you. That even if it rained, you would not know. That even if the brightest and warmest sun rays flooded the planet, you would still not be able to see it nor feel it. How would you feel? You don't know how it feels? You don't know how you would feel? Well, it's not only you, I don't know also. Let's ask Corey, shall we? Am I going to die? This thought, which had been recurring so much that Corey lost count after 50, unleashed its deadly fangs once again at Corey, making him feel like the scythe of the Grim Reaper was round his neck, waiting, just waiting for him to gasp for air and die due to lack of oxygen. Corey looked all around him, hoping to find something, anything that would grant him a ray of hope, but the more he looked, the more his hope shattered into multiple pieces. He looked up, trying to keep the last piece, the last shred of hope he had left, foolishly hoping for something to grant him hope, to renew his shattered hope. But the moment he looked up, the last piece, the last shred of hope broke and tore into many microparticles. An absent expression hung on his face as he looked up. Never had he missed the sky so much. Never had he missed the hard ground so much. Never had he missed light so much. And never, absolutely never had he valued air as much as he did right now. As he looked up, he wondered just how long he had been floating upwards. 5 minutes? 10? 15? Maybe a year? Or even years? Okay, he knew those two last thoughts were absolutely impossible since he definitely could not hold his breath for that long. He knew how long he could hold his breath, which was 1 hour 33 minutes. He had tested himself in the library of records previously to see how long he could hold his breath, and honestly, he was surprised when he lasted for more than an hour. But when he thought of how he was no longer a normal human, it didn't surprise him that much anymore. Although Corey could hold his breath for more than an hour in water, that was when he was still and was not attacking or trying to remove a damn tentacle from his ankle. Corey had expended his stamina and definitely more oxygen during the time he was fighting the tentacle mermaids and trying to remove the tentacle from his ankle. Right now, Corey did not know how long he had left before he would need to gasp for air. But he just knew, that his time was not much at all. How deep am I? Does this ocean, sea, whatever it is, have an end? Does it have a surface? And if it does, can I reach the surface on time and get out of this abominable water? In fact, if I'm so deep, why is my body not getting crushed due to intense pressure I'm meant to be feeling? Or is my body that strong? Why is this happening to me? Why is my luck so bad? I just want to be strong. Sure, it's hard, but is it meant to be this hard? Am I cursed? Various thoughts appeared in his head as Corey had an expression of acceptance. But just as he was about to accept the fact that he was about to die, he remembered something. If I die, what would happen to my family? They would be worried their entire lives if they don't hear from me. If they don't find my body, they might have this vain hope that I'm alive somewhere. My sister, my adorable little sister, would be sad and might do something stupid like those anime characters. Also, what of my virginity? Am I going to die a virgin? I've never kissed a girl before. What of Becca? I want to see her. I can't die yet. I can't die and make my family sad. I can't die and make my sister sad. I can't die without seeing Becca one more time. And I definitely can't die without losing my damn virginity. Finding reasons to stay alive, although one was just plain sad, Corey's eyes sharpened and determination appeared in his eyes. He could not die yet. He did not want to die yet. Although Corey had motivation, something definitely did not care about Corey's motivation. Corey exclaimed internally as he felt his body become different. It became normal. The duration of the ring of mimicry had ended, not caring if the time when Corey found his motivation was a few seconds before it ended. You sly. Corey cursed the ring internally as he felt his body sink. He started using treading techniques so as to continue floating upwards. He paddled, waggled, and did every treading techniques to make sure he kept floating. /in. Waggling is not a treading technique, by the way. It just rhymes, so I used it. He kept on doing this for who knows how long. Seconds? Minutes? Maybe even hours? Who knows? Maybe Corey's determination made him go past his limits. But despite Corey's determination, Corey's desire, Corey's fire to live, to get rid of his virginity, his body didn't care. He could feel himself losing consciousness. He could feel his brain becoming sluggish. He could feel his body becoming sluggish. His body was giving up on him. He wanted to keep on going. He wanted to keep on moving upwards. He wanted to live, but his body didn't give two fucks about his desire. His body also desired something, also needed something. Oxygen. But Corey did not have that. Corey tried to think of a solution, but his sluggish and slipping consciousness made it very difficult for him to think properly. Focus. Using the one skill which had helped him immensely, Corey's mind sharpened and his slipping consciousness was jolted awake. Corey, knowing that his focused state was limited, utilized it to its fullest in his current situation. He kept on trying to reach the surface while also thinking of ways to solve the problem of his oxygen deficiency. 3 seconds later, his eyes shone. Add all free attribute points to Constitution. The moment he ordered the universal system to do that, he felt his body change and become stronger. His Constitution, which was 370, increased by 66 points, which meant that his Constitution was now 436, 64 points from reaching the maximum stat a normal human could reach. He was surprised that the useless universal system listened to what he said, since he knew that normally he had to speak out loud to add free attribute points to any of his attributes. Although he was curious why the useless universal system listened to him, he didn't have time to focus on something as inconsequential as that at the moment. Deactivating his focused state, Corey continued treading upwards, desperate and determined to reach the surface. Although his Constitution was now high, almost reaching the 500 mark, he did not have unlimited oxygen and time to waste. In fact, he felt that he only had 10 or 15 minutes left before he ran out of oxygen once again. And by that time, he would truly be dead, since he had no other method to prolong his survival. 5 minutes passed. Corey was still treading. He looked up. He could not find a source of light showing that he was close to the surface. 10 minutes passed. No difference. Corey was getting anxious. 13 minutes, Corey could feel it. His body was going to need oxygen very soon. 14 minutes, his movement had slowed down. His eyes felt droopy. His body felt weak and tired. A short sleep would be nice. 15 minutes. Corey tried to motivate himself to not give up, to surpass his limits. 15 minutes, 5 seconds. Bubbles started coming out of Corey's nose. He tried to hold it in, but then he coughed, instinctively trying to gasp for air, but he knew that was a mistake on his part. He tried to stop himself from gasping for air, but it was a reflex reaction performed by his body due to its need for oxygen. He covered his mouth and his nose, trying to stop himself from swallowing water, but it was too late. The deed had already been done. His body began to sink due to him no longer performing the required movements to float. Is this the end? He looked up, wondering if all his hard work and motivation were all for naught. But like as if the heavens finally decided to reward him, like the smile of a beautiful woman who loves you on the darkest of days, like the smile of a loving mother, rays of light shined upon him as he looked up. Is it real? Corey wondered, then began swimming upwards with newfound energy. He was close to leaving this ocean of death. He was close to life. No, he was close to the breath of life. He was close to oxygen. He was close to survival. He swam upwards. He was no longer breathing air, but water, but he didn't care. To survive, he needed to reach the top. He needed to reach the surface. And he was going to make sure he damn reached it. But like as if the hands of death didn't want him to leave, didn't want him to escape. He slowed down. His body was giving up on him once again. His mind was becoming sluggish. His muscles were becoming heavy. He tried to go beyond his limits. He tried to do it. He really tried to do it. But alas, he failed. His body, lacking the fuel it needed, was about to shut down. I can't die yet. I don't want to die, Corey thought. Then he placed his last hopes on the skill which had saved his life one too many times. Focus. Entering his focused state once again, Corey's sluggish mind and dwindling consciousness instantly disappeared. His mind and consciousness instantly became active, granting Corey more time to live, to struggle. Corey, knowing this was his last chance, struggled. He swam and treaded like his life depended on it. Oh wait, it did. Anyway, he treaded so fast that it was a miracle he was even able to float. 5 seconds later, splash, cough, 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 ha 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 ha. Gasping for air with his head above the water, Corey looked around, a dazed expression on his face for a few seconds before it disappeared in a roar of happiness, joy, relief, and a whole lot of emotions erupted from Corey's lips. Ah, I survived, eat. H.A. Corey exhaled heavily after releasing all his emotions in his roar. He spent at least 30 seconds to calm his body and emotions down before he decided to take a look around. He needed to know where he was and what his current situation was. Was he in the middle of an ocean with no land in sight? Was he in another world, or worse, another universe? Was a terrifying monster nearby? Was he truly alone in this world, space, or whatever it was? Corey was prepared for a lot of things, even things that might cause him to despair, but when he looked around, he had a dazed expression on his face. He could see an island at least 1,000 meters away from him. He blinked repeatedly as he looked at it for a few seconds. It can't be that simple, right? My luck would definitely not just make it easy for me to survive. Where's the terrifying monster that's meant to attack me? Where's the death trap? Is it on the island? Is the island a death trap? Various thoughts appeared in Corey's mind as he looked at the lone island in the distance. He looked away from the island and looked around, wondering if there was something else, but he saw only water. He turned back to the island and sighed. To the island it is then. Corey spoke, then started swimming. 10 minutes later, Corey stood on the shore of the island with water dripping down his body. He looked at the island, observing the extremely tall trees just some meters away from him. Seeing that no monster or beast came out from the forest in front of him and there was no danger at the moment, Corey looked down at his body, which was half naked with only his boxers covering his little brother. He spread out his palm and a towel appeared from his inventory. Since he knew he was going to enter the dungeon, which was filled with water, he looked for a clean towel in one of the rooms of the dormitory. After using the towel to clean himself, he looked at his soaked boxers with a frown. He sighed softly. Then he removed the boxers, throwing them away. He brought out a clean set of clothes and a pair of shoes which he also found in one of the rooms in the dormitory and wore them. He then brought out Smile Reaper 2.0, gripping it tightly. He looked at the forest in front of him with cautious and cold eyes. "Let's go," Corey muttered, then walked into the forest. Entering the forest, Corey looked around, his cold and cautious eyes scanning his surroundings, his body ready to react the moment he sensed danger. He kept on walking and walking, not knowing the right direction to take. He just decided to walk straight. 10 minutes later, Corey noticed something weird, something disturbing. The only living things he had seen apart from the trees were insects. He had not seen a single animal, whether small, tiny, or large. The forest was also quiet, with the only sound being emitted was the swaying of the leaves on the trees. The forest felt ominous in Corey's eyes. Corey became more cautious and gripped Smile Reaper 2.0 tightly. He kept on walking and walking for who knows how long until he reached a clearing. The clearing was approximately 50 meters wide, and at the center of this clearing was a wooden hut. Corey looked at the hut for a few seconds before he looked around. He did not walk straight to the hut, but walked at the edge of the clearing, observing every single detail he could see. After walking round the clearing twice, Corey came back to his previous position and looked at the hut at the center of the clearing. He picked up a stone and threw it in the clearing, checking to see if there was a trap or something, but nothing happened. He then walked behind a tree with a stone in his hand, and after hiding behind the tree, he threw the rock at the hut, not with so much force that it would damage the wooden hut. He was expecting something to happen, but after the stone hit the hut, nothing happened. He waited for a few seconds. Nothing happened. He waited for a few minutes. Nothing still happened. Seeing that nothing was happening, he walked out from behind the tree and decided to check out the hut. If possible, he would not want to check out the hut, but not knowing where he was and the forest being relatively empty, with the hut being the only thing that was different in the forest, he had no choice but to check it out. Walking to the door, he exhaled before he opened it a little to get a peek at what was inside the hut. He hid behind the door and peeked inside, expecting to see something strange, something weird, something disturbing, or something dangerous, since that's what always happens to him in situations like this whenever he opens doors. But as he looked inside the hut, he was stunned seeing a normal-looking room. It had a wooden chair, a wooden table, a fireplace, a shelf filled with books and various other stuffs. He frowned and thought, "Can't be that easy, right?" He hid behind the door, not moving from his spot. He observed the room for anything strange and dangerous. He even observed the door he was holding. He had almost lost his life one too many times that right now. He knew he had to be calm and careful in situations like this. He observed the room for a minute before he stopped and decided to enter the hut. He didn't find anything weird in it. Everything seemed normal, which just made it more weird and ominous in Corey's eyes. Corey stepped into the hut, gripping Smile Reaper 2.0 tightly. Stepping into the hut, he looked around once again. He even looked back, wondering if the danger he was expecting would suddenly appear behind him. But as if to show that his worries were all for naught, nothing happened. The door was left open. No monster, no ghost. Nothing was behind him or in this room. Am I just overthinking things? He thought as he walked to the door and closed it gently. Although it felt like the hut was safe, he was not going to let his guard down until he was 100% sure it was safe. "Tap! How did you get here?" "Fuck! Who?" Corey shouted and turned back with extreme shock and fear, hearing a voice so close to him. Just as he looked back, his pupils dilated as he saw a man with a long white beard, long white hair and golden eyes, standing behind him with one of his hands on his shoulder. Corey tried to shrug off the hand, but like as if the hand was glued to his body, he could not shrug it off at all. Knowing that he was in a dangerous situation, he stabbed with Smile Reaper 2.0 towards the man's neck as fast as he could. He expected the man to dodge, or at least remove his hand from his shoulder, but what he saw next was forever etched into Corey's memories. Just as Smile Reaper 2.0 was just a centimeter close to the man's neck, two fingers suddenly appeared out of nowhere in Corey's eyes and held Smile Reaper 2.0 by the tip. Before Corey could react, Corey saw the man pinch Smile Reaper 2.0, and in the next instant, a crack formed on the spearhead. The crack spread from the spearhead and reached the entire body of the spear, causing cracks to appear all over Smile Reaper 2.0. Just when Corey thought that was the end, Smile Reaper 2.0 turned to dust, causing Corey's mind to blank out for a second. He looked down at his hand, which was holding the remains of Smile Reaper 2.0. Just as he was about to look at the man which killed Smile Reaper 2.0, his vision went dark and he went unconscious. He fell towards the floor, but the man caught him with one hand. He looked at Corey with a strange light in his eyes before he spoke. "I've not had a good barbecue in a while now. Seems I can have one now." In front of the wooden hut, a very strange scene could be seen. The man with white hair, beard, and golden eyes sat on a rock. An open fire made from wood was just a meter away from him. On the left and right side of this fire was a stick as thick as a man's thigh and as high as 3 grown men, joined together vertically. The whole setting looked like a spit where one roasts on in the wilderness, the only difference being that instead of a stick and animal meat been placed horizontally on top of the vertical sticks, it was a human that was tied horizontally on the vertical sticks, his body above the fire. A/N. If you don't know what a spit is, check Google, then you'll understand the illustration better. This human was Corey. So this is what would happen. I'll remove the cloth around your mouth, and I'll ask you some questions. Depending on your answer, your situation might get better or worse. Do you understand? The man with white hair asked with a calm and indifferent expression. In his hands was a knife and a fork which gleamed as the fire shined upon it. Meanwhile, Corey, whose face was in the direction of the fire, looked at the man with an expression of dread, anger, and nervousness. He tried to say something, but his mouth was covered. The man raised an eyebrow, seeing him try and speak. He just moved his forefinger slightly, and the cloth around Corey's mouth was sliced apart. Corey's eyes widened slightly, seeing that. He wanted to curse at the old man at first, but seeing the man cut apart the cloth by just moving his finger caused all the curses in his mind to go, poof, disappear. I asked if you understood. The man asked, bringing Corey out of his absent-minded state. Corey quickly nodded, showing that he understood. Good. The man nodded in acceptance. He threw the fork and knife on the floor. Then he leaned forward, placed his elbows on his knees, then put his hands on his chin, a serious expression in his eyes and face. Corey gulped, thinking hard on what the man could ask him. Now, the first question. The man said, bringing Corey out of his thoughts. Which do you prefer, breast or ass? The man asked, and Corey's mind blanked out for a second before he looked at the man, wondering if he heard right or if the man was just toying with him. Are you dash? Drop. Corey tried to ask if the man was serious with his question, but the moment he spoke, the 2 vertical sticks reduced in length and was absorbed into the ground, causing Corey to curse. Shit. Corey's heart palpitated with fear as the distance between him and the fire beneath him was reduced. Just answer my questions. Don't say anything else. If you say something other than the answer, the sticks would shorten and, well, let's just say you would have a fiery end. The man said, and Corey looked at him. Seeing a small smile on the man's face made the fear Corey had for the man to increase. Now answer my question. Which do you prefer, breast or ass? The man spoke, and Corey's face contorted into a frown. His mind spun, thinking of the right answer to this question. He didn't dare to believe that he could just give any answer and he would be safe. There was definitely a right answer. But the more he thought about the right answer, the more he realized there was no way for him to know the right answer. His frown deepened. Excuse me, Sir Dash, he tried to speak after a few seconds passed, but drop. Fuck. Just listen to what I have to dash, Corey cursed as the sticks dropped once again, bringing him closer to the fire. He tried to speak again, but drop. Thighs. I prefer thighs. Corey quickly answered, fearing that he would truly have a fiery end. Meanwhile, the man had a frown mixed with confusion as he heard Corey's answer. No one had ever given him such an answer when he asked that question. It was either they said ass or breast, and well, like Corey feared, if one gave a wrong answer, his end would be 100 times closer. As for the right answer, that did not matter. The man looked at Corey with a strange light in his eyes. Does he truly prefer thighs? Or is he trying to be smart? The man thought as he looked at Corey. Or maybe his sexual life is just that sad. The man thought once again. You prefer thighs over breast and ass? The man asked. Yes, yes, I prefer thighs. Corey repeatedly nodded his head in approval. So what type of thighs do you prefer? Thick or lean thighs? The man asked, and Corey blinked a few times. Anime thighs. Drop. Fuck you, old man. I gave my answer. Corey cursed with indignation in his tone. What the hell is anime thighs? Don't toy with me, boy. And besides, who's old? Your ancestors are the ones that are old. The man shamelessly argued back despite the fact that he was at least 5,000 years old. If you don't know anime thighs, then just say it. Don't bloody drop me into the fire. Corey cursed, but drop. Shit. Old man. Corey cursed once again. Drop. Corey kept his mouth shut. That's good. Now you're using your brain. The old man, cough. The man rubbed his beard with satisfaction, seeing Corey not saying a single word. Now you better answer me properly. Which do you prefer? Thick or lean thighs? The man asked, and Corey had an expression of frustration. Thick thighs, damn it. Bloody thick thighs. A smile appeared on the man's face hearing Corey's answer. Rubbing his long beard, he spoke. So that means you prefer fat girls? What? How would I dash? Drop. No, I don't prefer fat girls. I don't fucking prefer them, you madman. Corey replied with a tone containing frustration, despair, and tiredness. I knew doors were truly bad luck for me. Anytime I open suspicious doors, I always suffer. Corey thought with tears threatening to spill out of his eyes. Had he offended the god of doors in his past life? Never in his life would he imagine himself been in this type of situation. Meanwhile, the man, not caring about the thoughts of Corey, had a smile on his face, seeing the despair and frustration on Corey's face. He rubbed his beard with glee. Another question. Since you don't prefer fat girls, which ones do you prefer? Slim girls, busted girls, short girls, tall girls? Oh, by the way, if it's guys you like, don't be shy to say it. I won't judge you, the man said, and Corey looked at him with a blank expression. Old man dash. Drop. You bastard. Drop. Shit. Shit. Hot. Hot. That's fucking hot. That's fucking hot. Corey cursed as he felt his body getting cooked. He turned towards the fire and started blowing at it, foolishly hoping that the fire would be extinguished. The man had a strange expression on his face, seeing Corey's actions. So he's an idiot? The man thought before he decided to speak. Answer the question, young boy. Corey turned towards the man with anger in his eyes. Fuck you, old man. Drop. Fuck. I don't have preferences, old man. It's all about the vibe I feel from the girl. If the vibe is good, I don't care whether she's short, slim, busty, or tall. As long as she's not ugly, I don't care, all right. I don't give a damn. Now let me go, old man. Fucking let me go, you crazy old man. Corey cursed and wiggled, trying to escape the extremely tight ropes which bound him. Meanwhile, the old man's smile widened before it erupted into a full-blown laugh. Ha 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 ha. After laughing, he waved his hand, causing a soft wind to blow towards the fire and pile of wood. The fire was extinguished while the pile of wood were blown away. He moved his forefinger in a swiping motion, and the two vertical sticks were sliced apart. Bam! Shit. Corey cursed as he fell face flat onto the floor. The man swiped his finger horizontally once again, and the ropes binding Corey was cut off. Corey rubbed his sore wrists as he mumbled a few curses under his breath. Step, step. He looked up and saw the old man walking towards him. Now, was that so difficult? You only had to answer my questions, but you just made it difficult for yourself. The man said, and Corey muttered, when you were asking extremely weird questions. Ha 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 ha. The man laughed for a few seconds before he stopped. He wiped a few tears off his eyes as he looked at Corey. What's the fun in asking extremely serious questions from the start? The man said, and Corey was about to reply, but his words were forced back to his throat when he saw the man's eyes and expression become serious and cold. Now, you better answer me honestly, or your end would not be so pleasant. How did you get to this place? Meanwhile, the man, not caring about the thoughts of Corey, had a smile on his face, seeing the despair and frustration on Corey's face. He rubbed his beard with glee. Another question. Since you don't prefer fat girls, which ones do you prefer? Slim girls, busted girls, short girls, tall girls? Oh, by the way, if it's guys you like, don't be shy to say it. I won't judge you, the man said, and Corey looked at him with a blank expression. Old man dash. Drop. You bastard. Drop. Shit. Shit. Hot. Hot. That's fucking hot. That's fucking hot. Corey cursed as he felt his body getting cooked. He turned toward the fire and started blowing at it, foolishly hoping that the fire would be extinguished. The man had a strange expression on his face seeing Corey's actions. So he's an idiot? The man thought before he decided to speak. Answer the question, young boy. Corey turned towards the man with anger in his eyes. Fuck you, old man. Drop. Fuck. I don't have preferences, old man. It's all about the vibe I feel from the girl. If the vibe is good, I don't care whether she's short, slim, busty, or tall. As long as she's not ugly, I don't care, alright? I don't give a damn. Now let me go, old man. Fucking let me go, you crazy old man. Corey cursed and wiggled, tried to escape the extremely tight ropes which bound him. Meanwhile, the old man's smile widened before it erupted into a full-blown laugh. Ha 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 ha. After laughing, he waved his hand, causing a soft wind to blow towards the fire and pile of wood. The fire was extinguished while the pile of wood were blown away. He moved his forefinger in a swiping motion, and the two vertical sticks were sliced apart. Bam! Shit! Corey cursed as he fell face flat onto the floor. The man swiped his finger horizontally once again, and the ropes binding Corey was cut off. Corey rubbed his sore wrists as he mumbled a few curses under his breath. Step, step. He looked up and saw the old man walking towards him. Now, was that so difficult? You only had to answer my questions, but you just made it difficult for yourself. The man said, and Corey muttered, when you were asking extremely weird questions. Ha 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 ha. The man laughed for a few seconds before he stopped. He wiped a few tears off his eyes as he looked at Corey. What's the fun in asking extremely serious questions from the start? The man said, and Corey was about to reply, but his words were forced back to his throat when he saw the man's eyes and expression become serious and cold. Now, you better answer me honestly, or your end would not be so pleasant. How did you get to this place? Inside the hut. Corey sat on a wooden chair with a cup of tea in his hands. In front of Corey was the old man who was sitting on a rocking wooden chair with a frown on his face as he was seemingly in deep thoughts. Corey sipped on his tea, which was given to him by the old man, and as he drank his tea, he observed the old man. This time, as he observed the old man, he noticed a few things. First of all, he noticed something strange about the old man's eyes. He had noticed before that the man's eyes were golden, but when he looked at the man's eyes once again, he realized that the old man's eyes were strange. The man had 3 golden triangles in his eyes. The 3 golden triangles were connected to each other by their bases, leaving a silver, circular opening in the middle. Corey was somewhat fascinated by the cool-looking eyes, and a thought appeared in his mind. Can I also have cool-looking eyes? Corey eventually stopped looking at the old man's eyes and continued his observation of the old man. But just as he was about to continue his observation, the old man spoke, causing Corey to stop his observation. The old man looked at Corey, not bothered about the fact that Corey was observing him. So, you're telling me that you got to this place through a dungeon? The man asked, and Corey nodded his head in response. The man stroked his beard a few times as he looked at Corey. I'll need to look at your memories. The man said, and Corey frowned. The man, seeing Corey's frown, had a small smile on his face. We could do it the easy way or the hard way. Just know the hard way will be painful for you. The man spoke with an indifferent tone and expression, causing Corey's frown to deepen. I have secrets. Corey replied calmly after being silent for a few seconds. He knew there was no way for him to defeat or even escape from the old man due to his absurd strength. He was helpless before the old man and was at the mercy of the old man. Knowing he could not stop the old man from forcefully going through his memories, he was hoping he could reason with him. Meanwhile, the old man rolled his eyes, hearing Corey's words. Everybody has secrets, boy. Even I do. Also, if the secret you're talking about is your talent, which is omniscience, then that secret was exposed a long time ago. Corey's pupils constricted hearing the words of the old man. His heartbeat increased slightly and sweat dripped off his forehead. How did you dash? How did I know? Well, it's not like you're actually hiding your talent, boy. As long as somebody is strong enough or has the right equipment or skill, then they can view everything on your status window. The man said with amusement in his tone and a half-smile formed on his lips as he saw more sweat forming on Corey's forehead. I don't know how you've kept your talent a secret from powerful people, but if I was to guess, I would say you've just been lucky. Now, are we doing this the hard way or easy way? Personally, I prefer the hard way. Corey looked at the old man who had a sadistic grin on his face. This old man is definitely crazy. Corey thought, then sighed. He laid back on his chair and sipped from his mug of tea. Do the easy way. It's not like I had a choice in the first place. The old man chuckled, and before Corey's eyes, he disappeared and reappeared in front of him in an instant. Not a single second was gone in that instant. What dash? Corey tried to speak, but in the next instant, Corey saw the old man's finger move towards his forehead. It looked slow in Corey's eyes, but Corey knew that it was anything but slow. He didn't try to dodge the finger or do anything, since that would be stupid on his part. Just as he was expecting the procedure to be painful or even traumatizing, he was stunned when he saw the man walk away from him a second after his finger touched his head. A blank and dazed expression appeared on his face for a few seconds, since he was unable to comprehend what just happened. Meanwhile, the old man, who was walking back to his rocking wooden chair, had a deep frown on his face. How can the blood essence of a supreme be in the boy's planet? And from his memories, it's most likely the blood essence of their ancestor, the Allfather. Does my ancestor know about this? Is this also part of their plans? HAA. This is so frustrating. The old man rubbed his forehead in frustration, causing Corey to look at him with a strange look. Corey decided to keep quiet and waited for the old man to speak. A few seconds later, the man sighed once again, then looked at Corey. A serious expression could be seen on his face. I've gone through your memories, and let's just say there were some things that I saw that were disturbing to me. First of all, let me just say you're extremely lucky to be alive after encountering a baby kraken. If you had done any harm to it, no matter how little, you would be dead by now. The man said with an indifferent tone, while Corey's mouth twitched hearing the words of the old man. If I'm so lucky, why did I meet you? Keeping his thought to himself, he asked a question which was the most important on his mind. Let's leave stuffs about the baby kraken and speak about things which are actually important. First of all, where am I and can I go back to my planet? Corey asked with his heart beating faster than normal. The answer to this question was very, very important to him. You're on another planet, and yes, you can go back home. I can send you back to your planet. The old man said, causing Corey to exhale a deep breath of relief. Since you're now more relaxed, we need to speak about something very important, the golden drop of blood that the merchant told you about. Corey raised an eyebrow hearing this. He remembered the merchant telling him to sell him a golden drop of blood if he finds one in a dungeon. He put the words of the merchant at the back of his mind, since it was basically unimportant to him at the moment. But from what he could see, it seems the golden drop of blood is much more important than he thought. Wait! Just as the old man was about to continue speaking, he stopped him, causing the old man to raise an eyebrow. What? The old man asked. What should I call you? I can't keep on calling you old man. Corey said, and an expression of anger appeared on his face. Call me an old man again, and you will find yourself much, much deeper in the sea. The man threatened, and Corey kept his mouth shut. His previous experience with the old man made him believe that the old man would truly do as he says. Next time, don't have such long white hair and beard. You look like a damn old wizard with your look. The only thing missing is your pointy hat. Corey thought, but dared not say his words out loud. The previous actions of the old man had traumatized him. Meanwhile, the old man, oblivious to Corey's thoughts, had a smug expression seeing Corey's sealed lips. You're not worthy to know my real name, but you can call me what others call me. The old man took a pause, trying to build up suspense, expecting Corey to have an anticipating expression, but Corey just rolled his eyes inwardly. They call me the Wandering Paragon. The old man spoke with pride, and Corey tilted his head with a stunned and slightly dazed expression. Never in my life will I call you the Wandering Paragon. I'm still gonna call you old man, old man. He thought, but dared not say his words out loud. The old man, who was oblivious to Corey's thoughts, had an expression of satisfaction as he looked at Corey's dazed and stunned expression. Just as he was reveling in his satisfaction, Corey spoke. Sorry, but I think it would be weird calling you the Wandering Paragon. I feel it would be disrespectful for a man of your stature to be called directly like that by someone as insignificant as me. I feel calling you old man would be the best, or I can call you something else, something more respectful. You've gone through my memories, so you should know that calling a man old man is not been disrespectful. It's a sign of respect. Corey, who had just finished speaking, looked at the old man, who now had a thoughtful expression on his face. No matter what, I'll never call you the Wandering Paragon. What kind of cringe title is that? How do people even call you that? Corey thought, while keeping a straight and serious expression, not allowing any of his thoughts to show on his face. Even if he had to bootlick the crazy old man, he would do it. He definitely did not want to call him by that cringe title. Meanwhile, the old man, who was in deep thoughts, finally spoke. When I think about it, it's true that you're extremely insignificant and not worthy to even call me by my title, so I will allow you to call me old man. The old man said, and Corey smiled internally, but his smile became slightly stiff when he heard the old man's next words. But it's only when we're alone you can call me old man. In public, you call me Sir Wandering Paragon. Well, it's not like we'll see each other again after I leave this place. Corey thought, but still nodded his head, showing that he understood the words of the old man. The old man smiled and stroked his long beard a few times with a serious expression before he spoke. Like I said before, when I went through your memories, I saw a few disturbing things. The most important being the golden drop of blood that the merchant told you about. The old man paused, and a complex emotion flashed through his eyes. His hands clenched around the armrest of his rocking wooden chair. What's so important about the golden drop of blood? Is it an important treasure or what? Corey asked, and a smirk of slight ridicule appeared on the old man's face. Yes, it's a treasure, but only the ignorant, greedy, and desperate ones would see it as a treasure. The wise and knowledgeable ones would definitely not see it as a treasure. The old man paused, then looked to the side. A reminiscent expression appeared on his face. I can't tell you much since you would not understand, and there will be consequences if I do. But there are two things I can tell you. First, never, ever absorb the golden drop of blood if you see it. If you do, you will regret it. Second, if the universal system ever tells you it wants to give you a reward and the reward would change your brand color from orange or whatever color to golden, never accept the reward. No matter how powerful, how useful, how tempting the reward is. The old man spoke with intense seriousness in his tone. Corey, who thought that the old man could never be serious, was stunned and curious on the reason behind the old man's seriousness. What is that golden drop of blood that you keep on telling me to be wary of? Is it that dangerous or important? Corey asked. The golden drop of blood is not dangerous, and it's also dangerous. To some people, the consequences after absorbing or using the golden drop of blood doesn't matter, while to some, it matters. As for what the golden drop of blood is, it's most likely the blood essence of the ancestor and progenitor of a race called the Supreme Race. They call him the All-Father. Corey's eyes widened the moment he heard the name, All-Father. He remembered the first time the system appeared where it said, "Glory to the All-Father," and also after it gave him his gift, and it said, "Universal System welcomes the All-Father." It was a name Corey had been curious about ever since the apocalypse started, but knowing there was no way for him to get answers, he didn't bother searching for the answers. He also didn't bother asking the merchant about it, since he guessed, or should he say, knew, that if the merchant had information concerning the All-Father, he would definitely not be able to afford it. So, is the All-Father a bad person? What are the Supreme Race? Are they also evil? Corey questioned, and the old man smiled. I can't answer that question for your own good, unless you want to die after knowing the answers. The old man asked with a small smile. Nope, don't worry. Keep the answers to yourself. I still love my life, thank you very much. Corey replied and took a sip of his tea, but after taking it, he frowned. The tea was cold. He looked at it for a few seconds before he shrugged and drank everything in one gulp. Can't waste good tea, Corey thought. The old man raised an eyebrow, seeing Corey's actions, but didn't bother commenting on it. He stroked his beard and looked sideways. A thoughtful and conflicting expression appeared on his face before he sighed softly after a few seconds passed. Brat, he called out Corey without looking at him. Corey replied. Although I can't tell you the answers to your questions and more because I'm not strong enough to protect you, there is someone who can. The old man paused for a second before he asked with a solemn expression, "Do you want power? Do you want power that most could only dream of obtaining? Do you want power that defies a lot of things?" The man asked, and Corey's heart skipped a beat. Does he want power? Wasn't that what he had been looking for ever since he realized there was a Tier 2 creature at the academy gates? Wasn't it the main reason he entered such a dangerous dungeon despite his low level? Wasn't that what he needed so that his younger sister would not be stronger than him forever? What type of power is it? Is it dangerous? Although he wanted and needed power, he wasn't blinded by his desire and need for power. The old man never told him what exactly the power he wanted to give him was. If the power would harm him or worse, his family and eventual friends, there was no point in attaining this power. He'd rather gain this power himself. Meanwhile, the old man, seeing Corey's cautious nature, had a small smile on his face. The power is not dangerous in a sense. As long as you're strong enough, you should be able to handle the consequences of the power I want to give you. The old man said, and Corey had furrowed brows. What are the consequences? He asked. Well, the power I want to give you would make you have some enemies, with the supreme race being your number one enemy. Also, the power can sometimes put you in difficult situations, but as long as you're strong enough, you should be able to find a way out. The man said, and Corey's frown deepened. He rested his back, and a thoughtful expression appeared on his face for some seconds before he stopped and looked at the old man with a suspicious gaze. Tell me why I must accept this power you want to give me, and also why are you giving it to me? Corey asked. If you don't want the power, just say so. I'm not forcing you to accept the power. The old man shrugged. As for why I'm giving it to you, it's because of your potential. Your talent is so high that if you make the right decisions and don't die, you would become someone great in life. So, are you going to take this power? The old man asked, and Corey shrugged. Sure, why not? As long as it wouldn't harm my family. Corey said, Great. The smile on the old man's face widened. He spread out his right palm, and two objects appeared from thin air and hovered over his palm. Corey looked at the two objects with curiosity. The first object his eyes were drawn to was a vial which contained a dark reddish-gray drop of blood. The blood pulsed a few times like a heartbeat. The moment Corey's eyes landed on the dark reddish-gray drop of blood, he could not peel his eyes away from it. His body, his soul, his entire being wanted that blood. It wanted to absorb it, to drink it. It was screaming out to him. If not because Corey knew how powerful the old man was, Corey would have tried to snatch the drop of blood from the old man immediately. What's that drop of blood? Corey asked as he licked his dry lips, reining in the desire he had towards the drop of blood. The old man did not reply Corey, as he also looked at the drop of blood with a hint of desire and regret. A few seconds passed before he reined in his emotions and sighed. This is the blood essence of my ancestor, the progenitor of my race, the Paragon race. People that know him call him the Defying Paragon. The old man said solemnly, a hint of pride, respect, worship, desire, and so many other emotions appeared in his expression and tone. Meanwhile, Corey looked at the drop of blood with a confused, curious, and thoughtful expression. Paragons? Supremes? Corey became lost in thought as he looked at the dark reddish-gray blood. A few seconds later, he spoke. What are paragons? The old man who was observing Corey stroked his beard a few times hearing the question. Once again, I can't tell you everything, but I can satisfy your curiosity and explain a few things between paragons and supremes. We paragons and supremes are enemies, eternal enemies to be exact. From what I know, we're both the top two races of the entire multiverse. Not even the dragons, phoenixes, demons, and devils can compare to us. The reason why we're the top two races is because of our ancestors, the All-Father and my ancestor, the Defying Paragon. It is said that only those two have reached the peak of power, and only those two can fight against each other. Funny enough, the abilities of us two races are polar opposites. The Supremes are masters of the elements, while we Paragons are, how should I put it, we are opposers of the elements. Don't think our only ability has been opposers of the elements. We are capable of much more. Just being opposers of the elements is not enough to defeat a supreme. This is all I can tell you. If I tell you more, you would most likely die. The old man said, and Corey sat there with a slightly dazed expression. He rubbed the middle of his brows for a few seconds before he spoke up once more. I don't understand everything you said, but I understand the gist of it. He paused, then looked at the second object, which was a metallic box with red symbols on it. He didn't know what this symbol was, but he felt it should be special. What of that? What's in it? He asked. The old man looked at the box with a little bit of fear in his expression. This is something that if possible I won't give you at all. I would much rather use it myself, but with my present condition, if I do that, I would just be courting death. The old man said, then stroked the box with a melancholic gaze for a few seconds. Then he spoke. This box contains something which is exceedingly dangerous. A poison infinity crystal. Poison infinity crystal? Corey had a confused expression hearing the name of the item inside the box. It sounded cool, ominous, and evil. Does the old man want me to learn a poison skill, or does he want me to be somebody that uses poisons? Corey wondered as he looked at the box. An infinity crystal is a very priceless treasure that any knowledgeable and powerful being would fight for. Terrible wars would be waged by powerful forces if they ever get a sniff of where an infinity crystal is. I can't tell you everything about an infinity crystal because you are not ready, not strong enough, nor knowledgeable enough to understand, even if I explain it to you. Just know that an infinity crystal is something that grants great power to anybody that possesses it. Also, know that there are various types of infinity crystals. There is fire infinity crystal, lightning infinity crystal, earth infinity crystal, saber infinity crystal, spear infinity crystal, sword infinity crystal, chain infinity crystal, blood infinity crystal, and so much more. There are so many types of infinity crystals that experts believe that there are actually infinite types of infinity crystals. The man said, and took a pause. He stroked the box with an expression of longing. If there are so many infinity crystals, then doesn't that mean it's not so rare? Doesn't that mean a lot of people have infinity crystals? Corey asked with furrowed brows as he realized that something was not right. You're right to ask those questions, but the problem with your thinking is that you don't know how vast the universe is. Although there are so many infinity crystals, to find one of them would require luck and determination. The universe is so vast that even though there are different types of infinity crystals, it is still extremely, extremely rare to find one. Only the top powers would have more than one infinity crystal in their possession. The old man clarified, and Corey had a slightly dazed expression on his face. Does that mean if I get extremely powerful one day, I'll be able to see outside of the planet? I'll be able to explore the universe? Corey thought, but he immediately pushed down this thought and decided to focus on the present. The old man, who still had an expression of longing, finally looked away from the box and looked at Corey. Although infinity crystals are treasures to every being, infinity crystals are extremely important to us paragons. They're one of the main reasons we paragons can stand toe-to-toe against supremes. You probably don't understand all that I've said, but when you meet the ancestor, he'll explain everything to you. The ancestor of paragons? Why would I meet him? Don't I need to be strong enough before I meet the ancestor? Corey questioned with a confused expression. Wasn't meeting powerful figures meant to be difficult? Who was he for him to meet a being who the old man said had reached the peak of power? Meanwhile, the old man looked at Corey with a strange expression. Of course you need to meet him. How else do you think you'll be able to absorb the ancestor's blood and the poison infinity crystal? I dare not try and help you absorb the ancestor's blood, since you'll die if I do that. It's the same for the All-Father's blood essence. Why do you think the merchant told you not to absorb the blood? You'll definitely die. The old man warned, and Corey became confused. So how do I now meet the ancestor to absorb his blood? Is he around here? Corey asked, while wondering when meeting high-level figures became so easy. Of course he's not here. He's in the realm of paragons, which he created in the universe he was born in. The universe is far away from ours. Also, the realm of paragons is where the strongest and most talented paragons stay. It's also the dream of most paragons to go there. The old man said with an expression of pride, desire, ambition, and regret mixed in his tone. Meanwhile, Corey's face and mind became blank hearing the words of the old man. He shook his head, then rubbed the middle of his brows with a confused and frustrated expression. So right now you're confusing me. First, I don't know what a realm is, and I don't want to know right now. I have a feeling that I'll just get more confused. Second, if the realm of paragons is where the strongest and most talented paragons stay, why are you here? Are you not strong enough to go there? Third, and most importantly, if the ancestor is in another universe, how the hell do I meet him? Corey asked, and the old man sighed. He leaned back and looked at the ceiling. For your second question, it's complicated, but let's just say I'm not strong enough to go the realm of paragons. Besides, I don't think I can ever go there in my lifetime. A bitter smile appeared on the old man's face as he spoke. Why? Corey was confused. Was the old man dying? Corey thought, do you know why I'm here? Why I'm in this place alone, with nothing but water around me? The old man asked, and Corey rolled his eyes. You know, I don't, old man. You literally went through my memories. Corey spoke, causing the old man to chuckle softly. I'm dying young, boy. And the reason for that is because of a supreme I fought. I sealed the bastard beneath this island, and I plan on guarding this place till my last breath or until the bastard is truly dead. The old man said with extremely cold eyes, and a little bit of his aura spilled out, causing the hut and Corey to tremble. Corey looked at the old man with trembling hands and with sweat dripping down his forehead. Although he knew the old man was strong, and he absolutely had no chance whatsoever in defeating him, the tiny bit of aura released by the old man made Corey to feel like he was facing a terrifying beast he would never be able to defeat. He felt like a mountain was about to fall on him and crush him into pieces. Poison Infinity Crystal? Corey had a confused expression hearing the name of the item inside the box. It sounded cool, ominous, and evil. Does the old man want me to learn a poison skill, or does he want me to be somebody that uses poisons? Corey wondered as he looked at the box. An infinity crystal is a very priceless treasure that any knowledgeable and powerful being would fight for. Terrible wars would be waged by powerful forces if they ever get a sniff of where infinity crystal is. I can't tell you everything about an infinity crystal because you are not ready, not strong enough, nor knowledgeable enough to understand, even if I explain it to you. Just know that an infinity crystal is something that grants great power to anybody that possesses it. Also, know that there are various types of infinity crystals. There is Fire Infinity Crystal, Lightning Infinity Crystal, Earth Infinity Crystal, Saber Infinity Crystal, Spear Infinity Crystal, Sword Infinity Crystal, Chain Infinity Crystal, Blood Infinity Crystal, and so much more. There are so many types of infinity crystals that experts believe that there are actually infinite types of infinity crystals. The man said, and took a pause. He stroked the box with an expression of longing. If there are so many infinity crystals, then doesn't that mean it's not so rare? Doesn't that mean a lot of people have infinity crystals? Corey asked with furrowed brows as he realized that something was not right. You're right to ask those questions, but the problem with your thinking is that you don't know how vast the universe is. Although there are so many infinity crystals, to find one of them would require luck and determination. The universe is so vast that even though there are different types of infinity crystals, it is still extremely, extremely rare to find one. Only the top powers would have more than one infinity crystal in their possession. The old man clarified, and Corey had a slightly dazed expression on his face. Does that mean if I get extremely powerful one day, I'll be able to see outside of the planet? I'll be able to explore the universe? Corey thought, but he immediately pushed down this thought and decided to focus on the present. The old man, who still had an expression of longing, finally looked away from the box and looked at Corey. Although infinity crystals are treasures to every being, infinity crystals are extremely important to us paragons. They're one of the main reasons we paragons can stand toe-to-toe against supremes. You probably don't understand all that I've said, but when you meet the ancestor, he'll explain everything to you. The ancestor of paragons? Why would I meet him? Don't I need to be strong enough before I meet the ancestor? Corey questioned with a confused expression. Wasn't meeting powerful figures meant to be difficult? Who was he for him to meet a being who the old man said had reached the peak of power? Meanwhile, the old man looked at Corey with a strange expression. Of course you need to meet him. How else do you think you'll be able to absorb the ancestors' blood and the poison infinity crystal? I dare not try and help you absorb the ancestors' blood, since you'll die if I do that. It's the same for the All-Father's blood essence. Why do you think the merchant told you not to absorb the blood? You'll definitely die. The old man warned, and Corey became confused. So how do I now meet the ancestor to absorb his blood? Is he around here? Corey asked while wondering when meeting high-level figures became so easy. Of course he's not here. He's in the realm of paragons, which he created in the universe he was born in. The universe is far away from ours. Also, the realm of paragons is where the strongest and most talented paragons stay. It's also the dream of most paragons to go there. The old man said with an expression of pride, desire, ambition, and regret mixed in his tone. Meanwhile, Corey's face and mind became blank hearing the words of the old man. He shook his head, then rubbed the middle of his brows with a confused and frustrated expression. So right now you're confusing me. First, I don't know what a realm is, and I don't want to know right now. I have a feeling that I'll just get more confused. Second, if the realm of paragons is where the strongest and most talented paragons stay, why are you here? Are you not strong enough to go there? Third, and most importantly, if the ancestor is in another universe, how the hell do I meet him? Corey asked, and the old man sighed. He leaned back and looked at the ceiling. For your second question, it's complicated, but let's just say I'm not strong enough to go the realm of paragons. Besides, I don't think I can ever go there in my lifetime. A bitter smile appeared on the old man's face as he spoke. Why? Corey was confused. Was the old man dying? Corey thought, do you know why I'm here? Why I'm in this place alone, with nothing but water around me? The old man asked, and Corey rolled his eyes. You know, I don't, old man. You literally went through my memories. Corey spoke, causing the old man to chuckle softly. I'm dying young, boy. And the reason for that is because of a supreme I fought. I sealed the bastard beneath this island, and I plan on guarding this place till my last breath or until the bastard is truly dead. The old man said with extremely cold eyes, and a little bit of his aura spilled out, causing the hut and Corey to tremble. Corey looked at the old man with trembling hands and with sweat dripping down his forehead. Although he knew the old man was strong, and he absolutely had no chance whatsoever in defeating him, the tiny bit of aura released by the old man made Corey to feel like he was facing a terrifying beast he would never be able to defeat. He felt like a mountain was about to fall on him and crush him into pieces. What do you mean by my body is limiting my talent? Corey, hearing the words of the old man, asked with a confused expression on his face. What I mean is that your body is too weak to unleash the full potential of your talent. Do you know the exact reason your intelligence attribute doesn't increase after it reaches a particular number? Corey furrowed his brows for a second, then he spoke. Isn't it because my intelligence stat has reached the limit for my tier? The universal system told me that 500 is the highest limit for us humans. The old man shook his head slightly and rested his back on the wooden chair. A comfortable expression appeared on his face for an instant. The universal system is right, but it's not telling you the exact reason. I'm not going to delve into the reasons, or we'll spend forever here, so I'll use you as an example. The main reason your intelligence stagnates after it reaches a particular number is because if it continues to increase, you will eventually die. Your body would not be strong enough to withstand the mental energy your mind produces. If you were born as one of the top races in the universe, first, your limit would be much higher than it currently is, and also, your intelligence stat would not be so limited. Also, due to your weak body, the amount of mana your body can contain is limited. Your talent, which grants you a lot of intelligence, allows you to perceive mana much easier than a normal human would. Right now, I want to make your body stronger. I want to break the limit your body has and make your future limit much higher than the limit of a normal human. The entire hut became silent after the old man spoke. Corey had a thoughtful expression as he looked at his hand. He clenched and unclenched it a few times, then he looked at the old man. When do we start? He asked with a calm expression on his face, and the old man smirked. Follow me. The old man got up from his chair and went into the only other room that was in the hut apart from the room they were in. Corey got up from his chair and followed the old man. As soon as he entered the room, a stunned expression appeared on his face when he saw the inside of the room. The room, which was meant to be small, was currently as large as the bedroom of a mighty king. It had numerous shelves filled with books, vials, boxes, weapons, and a lot of other things. It was like he entered into a new world. How dash? He was about to ask, but spatial expansion. The old man replied indifferently before he could even finish his sentence. Corey decided not to ask any further questions, knowing it was something that was out of his league. He looked at the old man, who walked to the center of the room where a gray cauldron was located. You'll need to wait for some time. I need to concoct the potion that will remove the limit on your body. The old man said then, without waiting for Corey's reply. He sat cross-legged in front of the cauldron, and a flame appeared beneath it. Corey, seeing the old man concoct, looked around for a place to sit. Although he was curious about everything in this room, it was not his room, and the old man did not give him permission to start touching or observing anything. Corey found a chair in the room, then sat down. His eyes looked at the old man for a few seconds before he turned to the shelves. Slowly, the conversation with the old man resurfaced in his mind, causing Corey to be lost in thoughts. To be sincere, Corey did not feel too good about how things were evolving so fast after he met the old man. Sure, he was going to become more powerful, and he wanted power, but he felt like he was being dragged into something big, something huge, something that could affect the entire universe. When he said he wanted power, he mainly wanted it so as to be able to go home and protect his family. Although the power the old man wants to grant him was something a lot of people craved for, Corey did not crave for it so much. Just a few weeks ago, Corey was a normal teenage boy with school problems. Corey's mind was always on how to have a good future for himself, how to make money, how to not be a failure in life. Corey never had grand ambitions like ruling the world, gaining power, or even being somebody important in the future. Before the apocalypse, he just wanted to have a life where he could provide food and shelter for himself, his current family, and his future family. Corey right now only wanted to live and survive. He wanted to live and survive with his sister, mom and dad. Making enemies of extremely powerful people? Corey never had that in mind. Corey did not even want to make any enemy if possible, since he knew it would put him and those he cared about in danger. If possible, Corey would not want to take the Paragon's ancestors' blood, since it would eventually put him in the spotlight. Corey did not particularly hate being in the spotlight. It's just that never in his life had he been in the spotlight. He was always the type of person that just existed. He did not even know what being in the spotlight felt like. He had friends, but even among his friends, he was more like the person you would occasionally forget. He was more like the less valuable person in the group. This was also one of the reasons Kyle's betrayal did not hurt him as much as it should hurt a true friend. It was also one of the reasons he was able to bounce back quickly after hearing about his other friend's death from Kyle. It was not that Corey didn't care about his friends. It was just that the feelings he had for them was just there. If they were in trouble, he would save them, but if it would put him in harm's way, he would absolutely not save them. Most that know Corey don't know that Corey had something deep inside him, which even he was scared of. It was something he made sure to try and eradicate, but it was always there. Corey, deep inside, was an extremely apathetic person. Corey is so apathetic to the point that there was a day he asked himself a question, a very important question. If his mom, dad, and sister died one day, would he cry? Would he be sad? The answer he got when he asked himself those questions scared Corey that day and made him feel like he was a monster with no emotions. He realized that he truly wouldn't care if his family died. He wouldn't shed a tear, nor would he be sad or depressed. After he realized the emotionless monster he truly was, he decided to change no matter what. He didn't want to be an emotionless person who didn't even care about the people who loved him. Where was the joy in living if he became an emotionless person? What would he gain? After that day, Corey forced himself to laugh more, joke around more, interact more, and be interested in things. He tried to care about the people around him more, and he even tried to love. It was not easy at first, but after a year or so of constant trying, he was beginning to change, and the apathetic monster in him was slowly getting eradicated. He began to care for his family, and he began to care for his sister the most. His playful sister was the main person who constantly made him smile and laugh before he started struggling with his exams. She was the one who was the light that was slowly destroying the monster in him. But just as the monster in him was getting destroyed, he started having problems with his exams, and worse, the apocalypse happened. Corey felt nothing whenever he saw the corpses of other students, teachers, and workers in the academy. In fact, if Kyle did not encounter Corey, Corey would probably never look for him or any of his other friends. Why? He truly didn't care that much. When Corey realized this, he knew that the monster in him was coming back to life, and it worried him deeply. Why was Corey constantly doing stupid things? Why was he constantly shouting? Why did he always have immature thoughts? Why was he always behaving immature? It was all because he was afraid that if he became a serious person, he would become the monster in him much faster than before. Who is Corey? Corey is a human wearing a fake mask over his true self. He is a human who behaves like somebody he's not. That's the current Corey, and that's the Corey would rather become than him becoming an emotionless monster. This was also one of the reasons he felt uncomfortable being dragged into all the mess between Paragons and Supremes. He knew it was going to be dangerous, and he knew that if it was dangerous, there was a chance it could harm his family. And if any harm came upon his family, he didn't know what would happen to him. Although he was uncomfortable getting into the conflict between the Supremes and the Paragons, he also knew that to keep his family safe, he would need to become extremely strong, and the blood of the ancestor of the Paragons could grant him that strength. He just hoped that he wouldn't regret it. Hey, Brad, snap out of your daydreaming and come here. It's time you become stronger. Corey snapped out of his thoughts and looked at the old man who was holding a vial containing a red liquid. Papa, snap out of it, Corey. Everything's fine right now. Enjoy the present and worry about the future later. After whispering to himself, while also slapping himself to snap himself out of his depressing thoughts, he walked to the old man, ready to become stronger. Unknowingly to Corey, this step was his rise to becoming the omniscient Paragon. A/N. Hello, everybody. It's your boy Anon22 here. So right now, I'm here to talk about some things again. So first of all, I want to say that when I was writing this chapter, I did not plan it to turn out the way it did in the end. I mean me explaining Corey's true nature. So when I was writing this chapter, Jawade, one of the very loyal fans who constantly sends me Power Stones and thank you comments, wrote a comment telling me that he wishes Corey becomes more mature quickly. Not only that, I've been getting comments asking if Corey would remain dumb like he was in the previous chapters. Now, Corey would definitely not remain the way he is. He would change, and I assure you of that. I wanted to write about Corey's true nature in Volume 2, when he would change, but I figured I should write it now, so that y'all can see one of the reasons he acts the way he does, even with him having high intelligence and omniscience. Like I wrote in the chapter, Corey is wearing a mask because he's afraid of his true self. He wants to change. You can basically say Corey is a mess, mentally. If you read Chapter 2, where he was praying to Lord Ogun, you might see some clues which showed that Corey was not only praying about his problems with school at that point in time. Now, please don't think Corey would become an emotionless being at the end of the day. No, he would not. There would be a lot of character development for Corey, and I hope I would be able to accomplish that properly since I'm still a newbie author. This is the second book I've ever written in my life. My first was extremely poor. Second, I want to say a big thank you to y'all that vote with Power Stones and also golden tickets. A very big thank you. I checked my power ranking today, and I was honestly surprised when I saw it in the 400s, since last week's power ranking was like 700 or so. So, a very big thank you to y'all that vote. I'm very, very, very happy that we're improving step by step. Thank you once again. Also, if we can reach at least 200 in the power ranking, or who knows the golden ticket ranking before the end of Sunday, I will drop 3 bonus chapters for both of them if we can achieve that. So people, drop your Power Stones, drop your golden tickets, and drop your gifts. Because I actually need it. The gifts, I mean, your boy is broke. Anyway, have a great day/night. Later, people. Kisses. Mwah. This is to the females, by the way. I don't swing that way, you dirty-minded people. So how do I use this limit breaker potion? Do I drink it? Use it to have my bath, or what? In Corey's hands was the vial containing a red liquid. It was called a Limit Breaker Potion, and much to Corey's shock, it was a Tier 7 potion. Corey could not just imagine how priceless a Tier 7 potion was since for him. Even Tier 2 seemed far-fetched for him. Just drink the potion, the old man replied as he sat in front of the cauldron. The process might be a little bit painful, the old man warned, but Corey said nothing in response. He sat in a cross-legged position, and without hesitation, he drank the red liquid. He placed the vial gently on the floor and waited for the pain the old man told him was to come. 3 seconds later, Corey felt a searing pain in his entire body. His body trembled, and a muffled groan escaped his tight lips. His bones and body felt like it was getting melted. His stomach churned, and he felt dizzy. Sweat, steam, blood, and black grime oozed out from his body. His body bent, and he began coughing out violently. Blood, mixed with something black, came out from his mouth. His eyes, nose, and ears began to bleed violently. He tried to hold in the scream that was threatening to erupt from his lips, and he did that successfully. But there was one thing he could not do successfully, that was resisting the pain erupting from his head, from his brain specifically. Arg! A small shout of pain was released from his lips as he clutched his head tightly. His head felt like it was going to split open. It felt like something was trying to break down a barrier and release a flood of heavy substances into his mind. Clenching his teeth, he forcefully resisted the pain. If there was one thing Corey was undeniably good at it, for somebody who was just experiencing the apocalypse, it was the ability to endure pain. His pain tolerance was unimaginably high for somebody at Corey's level. The painful procedure continued for like 5 more minutes, but Corey found it easier to endure after he crossed the 3-minute mark. Meanwhile, the old man who was watching Corey had a strange light in his eyes watching Corey. The brat's pain resistance broke through to level 5. But even if he has level 5 pain resistance, his pain tolerance is much higher than an average level 5 pain resistance. Is it because he died so many times, or is it because of something else? I worry about this brat's future. Ha ha ha. The old man came out of his thoughts when he saw the panting Corey. A smile broke out on his lips, and with glee, he spoke. How you doing, kid? Corey looked up at the old man weakly, but did not say a single word. He was too weak to speak. Bam! And he's fallen unconscious. The old man muttered as he looked at the unconscious Corey on the bloodied and dirty floor. He frowned in disgust, then waved his hand. A gust of wind blew towards Corey, cleaning up the bloody and dirty floor without cleaning Corey. This is for calling me old. Did you think you were so wise? When you wake up, you can clean yourself. Muttering to himself, the old man ignored the bloodied and dirty Corey and meditated in a cross-legged position. 2 days later, Corey sat on the floor in front of the old man in a cross-legged position. He had woken up 2 hours ago, much to his immense disgust. He thought he woke up in the sewers or at a garbage dump, but after realizing it was him, he quickly asked the old man where he could wash himself, and much to his shock, the old man told him to wash himself in the sea, that there was no way he would use his bathroom while smelling and looking like that. Corey tried to argue back, but the old man just waved his hand, and the next thing Corey knew, he found himself at the shore of the sea. Having no other choice, he washed himself in the sea, worried that whatever monstrosity was in the sea would not see him as food. Right now, Corey was looking at his status window with a dazed expression. Basic information. Name: Corey Jr. Zane. Race: human. Brand level: 2. Affiliation: none. Class: none. Talent: omniscience awakened. Language: English. Titles: one of the 4 possessors of a graded talent on planet New Earth. Tier 0. Level: 54-86. Coins: 5 bronze coins. Attributes: Strength: 350-1000. Agility: 310-1000. Dexterity: 180-1000. Constitution: 436-1000. Intelligence: 1500. Endurance: 300-1000. Mana: 300-1000. Free A.P. 0. Hidden attributes: Luck: /100. Charisma /100. Wisdom / skills. Record talent skill. Danger sense level 1. Silent steps level 2. Night vision unranked. Super jump LV2. Undercover level 1. Evade level 2. Lock picking level 1. Iron skin level 1. Focus talent skill. Resistances. Fear resistance LV1. Pain resistance LV4-LV5. Mental manipulation resistance LV1. Equipments. Broken Ghost Reaper red grade. Binoculars red grade. Ghost gloves growth red grade. Pet/mount none. System remark. Huh? What's happening? This is not how things should have gone. How come a loser like you is treading on the path of a defiant? Are you sure you didn't marry the goddess of luck in your past life? Corey's mouth was wide open, seeing the absurd increase in his stats. His stats had more than doubled and passed the 500 limit mark by 2 times. He clenched his fists, and he felt like as if he could do anything. He felt boundless power running through his veins and muscles. He knew it was just a feeling, and he was definitely not that strong, but the strength he could feel in him made him feel like he would be able to trash all the Tier 1 creatures he had fought previously. He felt like he would be able to kill the Tier 1 pets that Kyle had easily. This feeling made him wonder if he had a chance against the Tier 2 creature at the Academy gates. Though he hasn't seen it, he felt like a Tier 2 creature should not be that strong, right? Old man, with this power, are you saying I cannot defeat a Tier 2 creature? Clenching his fists repeatedly, he asked. Rolling his eyes inwardly, the old man spoke. Obviously not. You might think that you're extremely strong for your tier, but know that the limit of the top races surpass 1,000. For example, the limit of dragons and phoenixes is 1,500, while the limit of high humans is 1,300. High humans? Corey looked at the old man with a confused expression. Yes, high humans. There's a reason why the universal system kept on calling you a normal human. Also, because you're a normal human, your limit could not surpass 1,000. To surpass 1,000, you'll have to either be a high human or change your race completely. Hearing the old man's words, Corey looked down with a pondering expression. What's the limit of paragons? Corey asked, and the old man smiled. The limit of paragons is 2,000, but crossing the 1,999 mark is so difficult that very few actually accomplish it. There are only a few paragons that were able to cross the 1,999 mark. The old man replied with pride in his tone, and Corey rubbed his beardless chin. So, you're telling me that unless I work together with other people, I cannot defeat a Tier 2 being? Corey asked, just to be sure. Unless you have an extremely high-level skill, which would require you to sacrifice your life, or you have a high-level item, which would cause mutual destruction, you're welcome to try. The old spoke with heavy sarcasm evident in his tone. Even for us paragons, fighting a Tier 2 being as a Tier 0 is extremely difficult, and there's a high chance we'll die. Only if the Tier 2 is extremely dumb or weak is when you might have a chance. The old man eventually decided to warn Corey, since he had seen some hot-blooded youth decide to take on more than they can chew. Meanwhile, Corey was curious about something. Can you tell me why the difference between Tier 1 and Tier 2 is so vast? He asked, and the brows of the old man furrowed. He was silent for a few seconds before he spoke. You'll understand the reason for that when you take the tier advancement test. But one thing you should know that it's not like Tier 2 has a major difference from Tier 1. It's just that when you advance to Tier 1, you gain a class and you gain class-specific skills. You're Tier 0, you don't have a class, you have no special skill. Defeating a Tier 1 as a Tier 0 is a commendable feat, but the only reason you've been able to kill a lot of Tier 1 creatures is because they are mindless and they're weak. Just don't fight a Tier 2 being on your own. There's a 98% chance you'll die. Corey nodded his head, showing he understood. Now that the old man explained to him how dangerous Tier 2 creatures were to some extent, all plans of him trying to solo the creature died. Thank you. Corey bowed to the old man and thanked him from the bottom of his heart. Although getting into the conflict between the Supremes and the Paragons made him uncomfortable, the old man granted him power. The old man did not force him to accept the power he offered. He gave him a choice, and Corey accepted it. Like I said before, don't thank me yet. I can't just let you go into the outside world the way you are. I'm going to give you 2 priceless treasures, and I can't have you dying so soon after you leave. With a smile, the old man spoke, then waved his hand. 5 objects appeared on the floor between them. Apart from the ancestors' blood and the poison infinity crystal, I'm giving you these things. Corey looked at the 5 objects which the old man gestured to. They were 3 skill crystals, a black spear with purple lines and symbols on it, and the last was a light gray crystal Corey had never seen before. Without waiting for Corey to speak or ask questions, the old man spoke. 1 skill crystal has a skill called Foundation Spear Techniques. When I went through your memories, I realized that you were terrible with the spear. Your foundations in using the spear is absolutely terrible. This skill crystal would help you become a better spearman. Corey, hearing the old man's words, knew it was true. In using the spear, dagger, or even fighting, nobody ever taught Corey how to fight. He was self-taught. Also, although he had no particular weapon he preferred, he knew he needed a skill crystal like this so as to become better in fighting. The second skill crystal has a movement art called Lightning Movement Art. It's a very high-level skill, so you would need to practice it a lot to master it. It has 5 sub-skills in them, so take your time to master them. Don't rush yourself or overdo it. There are some skills where you'll need to be a higher tier to learn. The third skill crystal has the skill Vibration Manipulation. The skill has potential, so make sure you value it. I would love to learn the skill, but the skill crystal would just be a waste on the current me. The light gray crystal is called a skill evolution crystal. It can be used to make any one of your skills evolve to a better skill. As for the last item, well, it's a spear, as you can see. I found it on a desolate planet along with the Foundation Spear Technique Skill Crystal and the Vibration Manipulation Skill Crystal. The spear should have belonged to somebody that was at least as strong as me. I don't use a spear, so it's not useful to me. For you, it should last a very long time, as long as you don't misplace it. Corey looked at the beautiful black spear for a few seconds before he spoke. How strong are you, by the way? Corey knew the old man was strong, but he didn't know how strong. Was he tier 5, tier 6, or higher? The old man smiled hearing Corey's question, then he chuckled. I'm a tier 8 being brat, a tier 8. Corey's looked at the old man with slight shock. He did not know how powerful tier 8 was, but internally he was sighing a breath of relief. Thank God the old man is not so cruel. Corey thought, not knowing that the main reason he was alive was due to him being so weak and also him having a very high talent. If he did not have a high enough talent, the old man might have trapped him here or killed him to not let word of him being here reach the outside world. How many tiers are there? You're tier 8, and you said you're not strong enough to go the realm of paragons. So how many tiers are there? How strong must you be? Corey was curious. Normally, he wouldn't be curious about things like this, but he felt like he should at least know some things about the powers of the universe. I can't start explaining everything. Just know that I'm not strong enough to reach the realm of paragons. As for how many tiers there are, I know that it's more than 8. Corey looked at the old man who had a smile with a dead gaze. If you don't want to say it, or can't say it, just say so. He thought, but didn't speak. The old man chuckled, then waved his hand, and the black spear flew into his hands. He performed a series of hand seals, which produced black symbols in the air. Were those black symbols? Corey thought, but didn't disturb the old man. He could see the old man was fully concentrated on what he was doing. A few minutes later, the black symbols, which was almost filling up the entire room, began to move into the spear. This lasted for a few seconds before all the black symbols was absorbed by the spear. Corey looked at the spear, wondering what the old man did to it, when he noticed that the purple symbols and lines had disappeared, making the spear look just like a normal black spear. Just as he was confused about what happened, the old man spoke. I placed seals on the spear. If I didn't, experts and those with discerning eyes would know the spear is a treasure and would kill you for it. Whenever your strength reaches a certain level, you can try to break the seals. It all depends on your ability and strength to break the seals. If you're not strong enough, then you'll not be able to destroy the seals. The old man, who looked a little out of breath as he spoke, stretched out the spear, towards Corey. Corey didn't know if what the old man did was taxing to him, but he hoped he was okay. Seeing the outstretched spear, Corey took the spear, but when he did, he realized that the spear was slightly heavy even with his new strength. Just as he was trying to adjust to the new spear, he heard the old man speak. "There's one more thing I have to give you." The old man opened up his right palm, and a gray ring appeared. "You don't have any concealment methods or techniques to hide your talent and status window, so take this." The old man stretched out his hand, gesturing for Corey to take the ring, and Corey did. The old man, seeing Corey put on the ring, continued speaking. "The ring is a spatial storage ring that can conceal your status window from beings that are up to Tier 8. It can also become invisible after you bind it by dropping a drop of your blood on it. When it's invisible, even Tier 7 beings won't be able to see it, but Tier 8 and higher would." The old man said, and Corey quickly brought out the Broken Smile Reaper 1.0 from his inventory, pricked his finger, and let a drop of blood fall on the ring. Corey was surprised the next moment when he saw the ring become invisible even to him. Although he could not see it, he could feel it. The old man, seeing Corey's actions, continued speaking. "Also, an advice, don't put the spear or anything you treasure or value in your inventory. The ancestors' blood and the poison infinity crystal is inside the ring. Never, ever bring out both of them unless you're in an evolution center. Also, make sure you put the All-Father's blood in the spatial ring. Never put it in your inventory." The old man spoke with a serious tone, causing Corey to be confused. "What's wrong with the inventory?" he asked. "I can't tell you about that. You'll have to ask the ancestor." Hearing the words of the old man, Corey heaved a tired sigh. He mumbled some inaudible words with a tired expression. Ignoring Corey's grumbling, the old man spoke once again. "There's also 1,000,000 gold coins inside the ring. It's not much, but it's what I can give you since I don't have much left." Corey became stunned, hearing the words of the old man. 1,000,000 gold coins? And the old man said it's not much? Although Corey did not know if 1,000,000 gold coins was truly not much, but he felt that for somebody like him, it was a lot. "I didn't give you any high offensive skill because the ones I have, you cannot use them. You're not strong enough, and I don't have any weaker one that works for a human." Corey looked at the old man for a second. Then he shook his head and spoke. "I don't know why you're apologizing. You've given me a lot without me paying you anything in return, so I can't be ungrateful and start asking for an offensive skill. I'll make do with what I have." The old man just smiled but didn't reply. A few seconds later, he continued. "Before I send you off, I need to give you another advice." Corey looked at the old man, a questioning look on his face. "The growth type item you have, if you want it to become stronger, feed it the soul stones of the revenants and dark revenants you have. You can also feed it soul stones of any ghost-like entity. The better the quality of the soul stone, the faster your ghost gloves would upgrade." Corey looked at his ghost gloves, which he forgot to ask the merchant for information concerning it. If the old man did not remind him about it, there was a high chance he would have totally forgotten about it, since he was not the type to use his hands in combat. "Thank you so much once again." Bowing his head, Corey thanked the old man once again. "Just don't die. I'm investing in you all right. If not because of your talent, I wouldn't give you such good things." Although it sounded like the old man did not care, Corey could see a satisfied smile on the old man's face as he stroked his beard. The old man, seeing Corey stare, coughed with an embarrassed expression and stopped stroking his beard. "What are you looking at, Brad? Absorb the skill crystals and do whatever you need to do and leave this place. I've never been as tired as I am right now, ever since I stepped into this planet." Corey smiled a little, seeing the embarrassed expression on the old man. Then he started absorbing the skill crystals. 1 month later, basic information. Name, Corey Jr. Zane. Race, human. Brand level, 2. Affiliation, none. Class, none. Talent, omniscience awakened. Language, English. Titles, one of the 4 possessors of a graded talent on planet New Earth. Tier 0. Level, 86-100. Coins, 5 bronze coins. Attributes, strength, 1,000. Agility, 1,000. Dexterity, 1,000. Constitution, 1,000. Intelligence, 1,500. Endurance, 1,000. Mana, 1,000. Free A.P. 42. Hidden attributes. Luck /100. Charisma /100. Wisdom / skills. Record talent skill. Danger sense LV1. Silent steps LV2-3. Night vision passive unranked. Super jump LV2-4. Undercover LV1-2. Evade LV2-4. Lock picking LV1-3. Iron skin LV1-2. Focus talent skill. Bronze bones LV1. Foundation spear techniques LV5. Lightning movement art ancient LV1. Vibration manipulation LV2. Full counter legendary LV2. Average regeneration LV5. Passive fog manipulation LV2. Resistances. Fear resistance LV1. Pain resistance LV4-LV6. Equipments. Broken Ghost Reaper red grade. Binoculars red grade. Ghost gloves growth yellow grade. Camera of illusions orange grade. Cursed Dryad's ring orange grade. Ring of mimicry replica orange grade. Twin fog swords yellow grade. Ancient spear grade. Devourer's armor growth orange grade. Pet /mount none. System remark. Well, this is surprising. You've reached level 100 and now you're ready for an evolution. Numerous paths have been opened to you. Which would you take? But seriously, you sure you didn't marry the goddess of luck in your past life? As Corey sat on a bed in a room in the male dormitory, he looked at his status window, which had changed immensely ever since he left the planet where the old man was located. His past self could not be compared to his current self at all. He was much stronger, faster, had more skills and better weapons. In fact, he was so strong to the point that if he faced Kyle and his pets this time around, he would absolutely floor them. Well, that's if Kyle and his pets have not gotten much stronger like him. Looking at his status window, he could not help but reminisce on how he got the several new skills and items he had. The 3 skills the old man gave him, although were not offensive skills, they were skills that helped him defeat all the Tier 1 monsters in the dungeon. The skill, Foundation Spear Techniques, helped him to understand the basics on how to use a spear properly, how to thrust properly, how to hold a spear properly, the best stance to use when using a spear, how to swipe using a spear properly, and also how to throw a spear to produce the maximum speed and force. The skill was a skill that did not make him a professional spearman immediately, but it certainly made him to no longer be a novice. Since he knew that the skill was very important to him, he spent most of his time in the Library of Records training according to what he learned from the skill, and he was able to make the skill reach level 5. After reaching level 5, it was harder for him to make it reach level 6, so he stopped training the skill. He guessed he might need an opportunity to break through. The second skill which the old man gave him was the lightning movement art, and this skill was an ancient grade skill. When Corey heard the grade of the skill, he had to ask the old man how skills were graded, since he knew from the merchant that the universal system disdained to grade skills below a certain level. At first, the old man was annoyed when he asked him since he was tired, and the answer to Corey's question was not really a secret, but when he remembered the fact that Corey was entirely ignorant about things like this, he sighed then told him. The skills which the universal system graded were skills that were either legendary grade, mythic grade, immortal grade, ancient grade, then divine grade skills. The old man told him that for him to use the lightning movement art to its full potential, he would need to be strong and also practice a lot. The old man also told him that the lightning movement art is a skill that had 5 levels to it, instead of most skills which had a maximum of 10. Anytime Corey reaches the next level, he would gain a sub-skill, which is more powerful than the previous sub-skill. Corey was at the moment only in the first level of the lightning movement art, and the first sub-skill he got was called Thunder Step. Thunder Step was a step that increased Corey's speed by half, and also releases sounds of thunder for every step he takes. This means that Corey's agility stat, which was 1,000, would increase to 1,500 whenever he uses the skill, which was a major increase. The part that made Corey realize how powerful the ancient skill was when he realized that if his agility stat was, let's say, 100,000, the skill would increase his speed by half, which meant his speed would now be 150,000. The skill was the definition of powerful in Corey's eyes, and it made him wonder what the remaining 4 sub-skills would be like. Now, although the lightning movement art was powerful, the mana usage was something that made this skill to only be used once in a while. The mana usage was 100 mana for every second the skill was kept active, and with Corey's 1000 mana stat, it meant that Corey could only use the skill for 10 seconds. Corey was a little bit disheartened when he realized that, but he knew that as long as he got stronger in the future, he would be able to maintain the skill for a long time. The last skill the old man gave him was vibration manipulation. Before Corey absorbed the skill crystal, he thought the skill would give him the ability to manipulate vibrations like the name of the skill, and well, it did in a way. The skill actually taught Corey how to use vibrations to cause damage to living and non-living things after he makes physical contact with a being or thing. For example, when Corey practiced the skill on a rock, which was his height in the Library of Records, he was able to cause a lot of cracks after punching it. Corey then tried it on the recorded monster, which he killed by putting the Late Smile Reaper 2.0 into his asshole. May the soul of Smile Reaper 2.0 rest in peace. Corey thought, then continued his reminiscence. After trying the skill vibration manipulation on the giant monster, it trembled immensely and even coughed out blood. Corey was shocked at that point in time because he did not use his full strength on the monster, since if he did, it would die straight away. Corey, seeing the effects of the skill, knew that the skill truly had potential, as the old man said, so he trained using it. He wanted to make it that he could apply the skill even when using it on a weapon, and surprisingly, it worked after practicing it repeatedly with the ancient spear. But when he was practicing, he realized that if the weapon was not strong enough to handle the vibrations he released, it would get destroyed, and luckily for him, the ancient spear was a spear that was very hard and in fact almost indestructible. Not only was it almost indestructible, it could heal itself over time. It was also after he was able to accomplish that the skill upgraded to level 2, granting him more finesse and control when using the skill. Apart from the 3 skills which were given to him by the old man also gave him another crystal, a skill evolution crystal. When he wanted to use the skill evolution crystal, he was conflicted between using it on record and focus. These 2 skills were honestly his most important skills, and were the skills which had saved his life more than once and made him reach where he was today. After much deliberation, Corey decided to use it on record. Record was his main way of him gaining combat experience without risking his life. Not only did it grant him combat experience, it also had various other uses which he could think of. After Corey used the skill evolution crystal on record, he expected it to be painful, but surprisingly it was not. It was even pleasurable and moan-inducing. Corey, remembering how he groaned in pleasure and even had a boner during the process, covered his face in shame. Luckily for him, he had already left the old man's place and was back in New Earth. Anyway, after recovering from his embarrassing situation, he checked the new description of the skill, and he was absolutely gobsmacked and delighted with what he saw. Record previously was a skill that could analyze the abilities of any living being as long the difference in tier between him and the living being was not greater than 1. But now, Record could analyze the abilities of any living being as long as the difference in tier is not greater than 2, which meant that Corey right now could use Record on Tier 2 creatures, which also meant that Corey could use it on the Tier 2 creature at the Academy gates. Corey was so ecstatic to the point that he started dancing a very embarrassing dance when he realized that. Though after he calmed down his excitement, he thought about it, and still did not plan on facing the Tier 2 creature alone, since the old man warned him that he would definitely not be able to defeat alone. Although he was not planning on fighting the Tier 2 creature, he still had other plans with his Record skill. Corey at first thought that the increase in tier difference was the only result of the skill evolution crystal on Record, but after going through the description, he realized there were 2 more changes, and one really made Corey speechless. The first change was that the speed of the analysis of Record had increased. Not only that, to record a being or beings who were lower in tier than him, he only needed to look at the being or beings once, and they would be fully analyzed by Record. Although this change looked lackluster compared to the first change he noticed, Corey still appreciated the ability. Now the last change was what really made Corey speechless and stunned, especially after he experienced it. The last change of record enabled Corey to fight the best version of himself. The recorded Corey, or let's say Corey 2.0, would have all his skills, current levels of his skills, items, and abilities. The only thing it would lack was emotions. Corey at first did not understand how powerful the best version of himself was. He thought since the level of their skills was the same, and they were practically the same, he should not be far from the best version of himself. Right? Wrong. Corey only lasted 5 seconds against himself. 5 seconds. Corey was utterly defeated and humiliated in the first match. In fact, he was so stunned that when he got out from the library of records, he was rooted on the spot for at least 10 minutes. Corey realized that he was nowhere near the best version of himself, and because of that, he spent a few days training and fighting Corey 2.0, increasing the time. He lasted to 7 seconds without him landing a single hit on Corey 2.0. Corey was utterly depressed, and knowing that although training with Corey 2.0 would improve his combat experience if he persisted, it was not worth it at the moment since he only lasted for 7 seconds. What was he meant to learn in 7 seconds? He was just defending, and defending. Did he want to be a defender? Because of that, Corey stopped fighting Corey 2.0 and decided to fight against the remaining Tier 1 monsters of the dungeon, which was where he encountered some weird and dangerous situations and also got more skills and items which made him stronger.